What is going on, Casually FC? What is going on? Welcome to the Casually Chelsea show, where we talk about Chelsea news, transfers, and all the rumors happening since the last time we did our Casually Chelsea show, which is on Sunday. Luis Campos possibly coming to Chelsea. Osimhen discussions actually getting more serious and more realistic than we thought, and apparently Mitrovic is in the works. Who knows? But we're here to talk about it. We're here to discuss about it. Before we go ahead and start this before we go ahead and start this stream, make sure you guys are smashing that like button, subscribing if you're new to the channels. Help us get to 1,800 subscribers. We're on our way well onto that number, and then before you know, we'll be at 2K and we'll have a big celebration for that. Make sure you hit the bell notification to don't miss out when we do stream. Check out the links below in the description. Leave a comment down below. Let us know what you think about the show and any of our opinions. And as always, make sure you check out our memberships. We have 4 different tiers starting at 99p, where you can get some cool emojis for all that you can spam in the chat and enjoy and have a laugh about. And yeah, it helps out the channel immensely. So big up to the panel today: Real Chris, Ahmed, Scott, Oliver, and myself, Marshalldbdx. And let's go ahead and get this show on the road. The first topic we're going to be discussing is cleaning up shop. So pretty much Chelsea have parted companies with their head groundsman and his assistant son. After 30 years of working for the club refused to reveal the reasons behind Todd Bowley's latest staffing overhaul. I wonder why. Sad. It is sad, and it seems very unnecessary.
It's not sad, man. It's not sad, man. Listen, that's because
what do you mean it's not sad? They've been working there for years.
Well, listen, man.
And you just sacked? Why this?
All eras come to end. We don't even know if he's not even been sacked. They're parted companies. Usually that means that, you know, listen, we don't need you anymore, bro.
It could be
mutual. And usually parted ways. When someone usually gets parted ways with, they also get like some sort of a severance package. So, you know, he's not leaving here. Let's say you're fired and you're not getting any cash either. Okay, let's not be that harsh. And maybe it's because, you know, the club wants to bring in some newer guys who have a, you know, maybe a better idea of like new fuels, isn't it? Maybe they feel that Stamford Bridge isn't as good as it should be. You never know.
Some younger people. Actually, why someone's younger?
No, I don't even think younger people. I just think maybe they just want people who have even more knowledge on pitches. Maybe just to help improve the pitch. You never know. Like,
you think maybe that's what's causing the injuries and shit? The pitch?
Oh no, idea. No.
I know that. I looked at it. There are parts of the pitch that I saw like last time, like especially. Like,
I know there have been complaints over the pitch in the past, but like,
I remember Tuchel complained about the pitch once in his press conference. Although is that an excuse or what? I do remember that though.
Oh, well,
wasn't that after Leeds though?
That was after the
Leeds pitch.
That was after the Arsenal game when Christensen messed up the back pass. He said the ball bounced weird. Like, I don't know. It just sounds like an excuse, but he did say it. So, you know, you can give that whatever weight you want, I guess.
They were slacking then. They were slacking.
And also, do you not just think
I don't know.
Like, see, there's more sensationalism from like the papers anyway. Like, they're trying to like say, oh, look, they're even letting go of all the guys in the old generation. They're letting them all leave. You know what I mean? Maybe just because, you know, it could
the thing is as well is like we already let go of people that have been here for many years. Like the head physio, whatever he was, had been here like 15 years. Like, and we let him go. Like I think it was the head doctor or someone else we let go that had been here a very long time as well.
Eva was like a head doctor, wasn't she?
No, this was this year.
Wasn't she let go before? Bowley
under Bowley, I'd say under Bowley, we let go of at least two people that have been here like many years within the medical staff. It's like,
yeah,
it kind of sucks.
It sucks. It just seems unnecessary, you know.
It sucks because they've been working here for ages, but like apart from that, like it is what it is. It's just what happens in jobs and whatnot. Like people leave.
Oh my goodness, you guys are crazy in the chat. We have a second Minerals avatar.
Yes.
Why?
What did I say, guys? This guy is literally the meme of the Chelsea fan base. Like it's becoming a reality.
I don't want to see more of him. I dislike seeing as much of him as already do.
Yeah, this is supposed to be our safe space, right?
No. There's no safe space from anywhere.
There's no hiding from Minerals. The Minerals is everywhere.
Let's have it right.
There's no way to hide. But
Right.
yeah, it is unfortunate that Chelsea parted ways with this. It just seems a little unnecessary. The physio one I get because like there have been a lot of injuries. Tuchel last season faced a lot of injuries as well, and this season as well we're seeing a lot of injuries. But the groundsman, that one is like you could, I guess, like what Ahmed said, if it was mutual and they just wanted to part ways, and yeah, who knows? We don't know, but the way this is written, it just makes it seem like, oh, Todd
And also, let's be real, guys.
cold man
And let's
owner.
And also, let's just be real, guys. If you are going to be expanding the stadium and trying to do what Tottenham is trying to do, what Tottenham has, where got different AstroTurf pictures and that sort of stuff, or like a racing car picture and that sort of stuff, in the future, are these guys going to be, are the father and son team going to be able to do their job? And to be honest, maybe they're not that multifaceted, and maybe the club is trying to bring in people who are more experts in more than one area.
Ahmed, the only thing I'd say to that is that the stadium redevelopment is going to be years down the line. So this didn't necessarily have to happen now, if that is indeed the reason.
Hey man, fair enough.
I was gonna say, like, it's depending what age he started like working at Chelsea. He said 30 years. Like, it's depending what age. Like, maybe he's near his retirement, all we know as well. That's another thing. I don't know. Like, 30 years is a long time. Long time.
Yep.
Yeah, so we'll see. Hopefully, I'm hoping whatever companies and people we get to fill in these roles, the physio, the groundsman, all these other roles that we have, at this point, a custodian role, I hope whoever we get is just a better, an improvement on what we currently have. So we'll see. I trust Bully has something in mind. I wish we had more detail on it, but it is what it is. So let's move on to the next topic here.
That's a funny comment. How have they sacked the groundskeeper for Potter?
Listen, mate, they paid 21.5 million for him.
You should pull it up.
Chris, I haven't heard that one before.
I just seen it.
Let's talk about this plan for the multi-club network, right? So here we got some news from Nizar Kinsella. Again, it's Nizar Kinsella. I don't know how reliable this is, but we'll just, let's just read about it. Let's entertain the idea. So Chelsea are reassessing Portuguese clubs as part of their plans for a multi-club network after having a £35 million bid for Portimonense turned down.
That's big news. So sorry. Todd Bailey apparently has replied to a tweet about the Apple TV show about Ted Lasso.
Okay, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Hold on to that for a minute. And if anything, just send it to me through private chat. They have consulted the Portuguese super agent Jorge Mendes over clubs to consider in his homeland, and he is now tasked with finding alternative options. Another tweet right here regarding this as well. Chelsea is determined to buy a club in Portugal. Jorge Mendes will help do market research and especially facilitate any negotiations. At this moment, the businessman and owner of Gestufute are in the initial process of prospecting, having studied with greater attention, for example, Rio Ave and also Moreirense. Are these other Portuguese clubs?
Yeah, so Rio Ave.
Yes.
I say Rio Ave. Yeah, they both are. I know the club as well, Portimonense. I think they got promoted 2 years ago.
These are newly promoted clubs, or like clubs that have just come back into the new Portuguese league. And the Strasbourg deal was actually really smart. Because we've obviously apparently now got a minority stake in Strasbourg. Fun fact about that one, that's actually really smart because that club is actually failing. We've actually injected money into the club for us to use. That's a good
when you say it's failing.
No, financially failing. No.
Oh, okay.
There's an actually good video. I'll send you guys the link to it because it's on High Tech Sevens. It's a really good documentary about what's going on at the club as of recently. So it's a good thing for you guys to read to learn about it. But again, it's looking like we've got one now in France. We're trying to get one in Portugal. So
also, that second or third team is mentioned, that last team in that tweet, they're not in the first division. They're in the second division of Portugal.
Oh.
I was going to ask you guys, because this actually made me think. If we had to choose one or the other, I'd prefer the Portuguese one. I feel like there's a lot of Portuguese talent, but then again, France has a lot of French talent. Yeah, if they do both, it'd be great. But my question was going to be, do you guys think that with either of these clubs, whether it be a French team or a Portuguese team, you think with Todd Bowley backing it, they are actually going to be able to start competing with the bigger teams like Lille, Lyon, or in this case, Sporting and Porto?
I think so. But I also think that that's not necessarily the immediate aim, if that makes sense. Where like you look at so the two kind of closest kind of case studies and examples you can use are the Red Bull Group and the City Football Group, where you look at like,
sure,
let's use the Red Bull Group for example. Yes, they've got Salzburg who are competing in their league, fair enough, and they've got Leipzig. They've also got a Brazilian team who, let me check where they are. Bear with me 1 second. They've also got a Brazilian team who are currently
City Group.
Yeah, so this is the Red Bull Group. They've also got a Brazilian team who are currently fourth from bottom. Oh no, their league hasn't even started. Even so, they finished 14th last season. It's like they're not exactly a superpower in Brazil, and the same with City, where it's like they've got a couple of big-ish teams under them, but they've also got a couple of teams that aren't so big. So even though they've got the likes of New York City FC, who are big in the MLS, they've also got Melbourne City, who I don't believe are doing. I don't really know where they are in the Australian League, but they're not massive. They've got Troyes, who again, kind of similar to what we're going for in terms of they're kind of a mid-table Ligue 1 team. So like they've kind of got all spectrums. The more it's not necessarily where they're going to finish. The more important thing is you've got teams that you can send developing players to. But you've also got teams that you can get young players from, and you have a good scouting network into. So, like the best young French players, hopefully you can convince them to come to Strasbourg to begin with. But then also you can that's a pipeline to get them to Chelsea. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why
like
you've only got minorities. That's why we're looking at like minority stakes at these of these clubs. We're trying to get like some sort of foothold in there where we can send the players in, and we're also giving them these guys a bit of cash to help stabilize their clubs or maybe help their clubs out as well. So it's a fair deal. At the end of the day.
and I like the countries that we're placing these prospects in. So I like the fact that we have something in France. I like the fact that we have something in Portugal. And if you look in recent years, France and Portugal have been like a factory when it comes to the top talents. You look at in Portugal, for example, we look at Felix, Cancelo. You look at Leao from AC Milan, and then you go over to France and you see Camavinga, Tchouaméni, Mbappe. Like there's just a lot of youth talents coming out of
and
these.
Marshall, you even look at the players. You not only look at the players that come from those countries, but you look at the players that have played in those leagues as well. So you look at like an Enzo who's played in Portugal. His transition to the Premier League has been seamless. So there's that aspect too. You can get a broad range of talent from those places.
Yeah, I respect it. Chris, did you have any thoughts about this?
Like you guys
purchases?
also like pretty much all of it. Like I'm like you, Marshall, as well. I like the idea like we're going to France and like Portugal. Like the French players to the Premier League, they do really well here. So does Portugal. So it's a very good move from the board and Todd Bowley or whatever who's doing it all. So yeah, like you guys literally said it all.
Yeah, actually, this would be a Todd Bowley and an Egbali decision, right?
I think so.
It would have to be. I don't think there's like a subsidiary or.
I think it's also it's part of the reason why they bought Vivellin. Like he is meant to be the guy that kind of oversees, similarly to what he did at Red Bull. Like he oversees kind of the whole model. And yeah, one of the biggest things for me with this whole thing as well is like kind of what I mentioned in terms of development of players, where like the likes of Casade or the likes of Andre Santos or the likes of some of the other guys who aren't maybe getting game time here, even if they are quality players. I'm thinking of someone like a Levi Colwell. Yeah, he's doing brilliantly at Brighton, but like if you're able to send him to a team like Strasbourg or a team like Rio Ave, say for example in Portugal, where because you effectively own that club, you can basically ensure he gets game time, like, and he's going to get teaching in another country where you're getting like a different method of teaching in terms of learning different tactics, different styles and whatnot. Because let's be honest, the English style of football is very, very weighted towards a specific kind of style of play or one way. and that's only going to benefit them. Like we've seen what happens in terms of English players or British players like going and learning elsewhere. Like I think it's just I can't see a negative with all of this. Like this idea, we've seen how much Man City in every single way possible. Same with Red Bull. Look at how much it's benefited them in every single way possible. I don't see a negative.
I'm actually curious. This is a genuine question that I have. For the Red Bull group and Man City group, do they have like a director role that is in charge of transfers for all the clubs, or does each individual club have like a transfer director?
They all have their own separate ones.
Their own separate ones.
But essentially it's like a collaborative effort, much like what we're doing now at Chelsea, where they can speak with each other essentially.
Okay.
Exactly.
The reason I ask is because the next topic is probably going to be something related to that, which is finding our next sporting director. And apparently, there's rumors going around about Luis Campos. We'll see what happens, but I'll entertain this. I don't know how reliable this source is, but what?
Santi J, he's the guy that told us that Augusto is coming to Chelsea.
Oh, so he's tier 1. Is that what you're saying, Ahmed?
Yeah, he's tier 1. Although he did something about Mo Salah wanted to go to Real Madrid. And and then like the agent said why he lied, but allegedly, but he did. But the Mo Salah's agent's a bit of a dickhead in it, so we don't know if he's like trying to hide his tracks.
We'll see. The truth will come out. What did Fabrizio used to say? Let's see who is lying at the end, or what was his quote?
We'll see.
Yeah. We see who's lying with a smiley emoji or something.
So, Luis Campos, hesitant over his position at PSG, has established some relations at Casually FC and has kept constant contact since the start of 2023. Now, for those, I'm not on top of Luis Campos' transfers. I know they're good ones though, and you guys are going to be here to remind me, obviously. But the reason I asked you is like, is Luis Campos going to be the guy in charge of like the transfers for Chelsea New York and Chelsea France and Chelsea Portugal and Chelsea themselves?
He won't be the guy that does that. Like as Ahmed said, like you'll have a bunch of people that are all working are all working under one goal, because the thing is like as well, and this is another thing, some of the transfers that happen won't even involve Chelsea. Same way like with the City Football Group, you'll have transfers that might involve the team that we buy in Portugal and Strasbourg that help benefit the Strasbourg team as a whole, so they get bigger and better in France in that way. Because like for example, you've got transfers that happen like in the summer between New York City FC and Torquay, or sorry, in the winter transfer window between NYCFC and Torquay, the club they've got in Uruguay, to benefit NYCFC, and they also had a transfer that happened to Girona from NYCFC to benefit them. I think he's the guy that they signed, Tati Castellanos, is scoring goals in Girona to help them in that league. It's like it can happen in there. On the Campos thing though, I've got his transfers. It's a long list. It's 4 pages long.
Jesus Christ. Give us the highlights then, Scott, please.
I was going to say, let me try and find them if I can.
I think in general,
we know we signed a lot of good players.
I think in PSG, in his PSG cycle, he brought in what's his name? Fabian Ruiz, Soler, Renato Sanchez.
Okay, there you go.
The young striker whose name escapes me right now. That was pretty good. That was about to go to Newcastle but failed his medical. So that's like the 4 main players that he's bought.
Oh, Ekitike, the guy that doesn't play.
Ekitike. Yeah, so that's the 4 guys that he's brought in that I know. I think there might be a few more that I might be not remembering. But, the thing is, like, Soler is... Oh, yeah, Vitinha is one of them. Vitinha is actually...
Vitinha, yeah.
Vitinha is... I like Vitinha. I can't lie to you. He's a solid player. Soler and like Fabian Ruiz, they found it quite hard to, come to the French league and pull their mark on. And I think that's partly because obviously Ruiz is from the Italian league. It's a bit more, technical there. Same with like Soler, Spanish league. So they're a bit more technical, bit more, it's a bit more about the passing, a bit more tactical wise, not physicality. If you got me, because the French is quite physical. So that's kind of not helped them out.
Renato Sanchez, I like him.
Another dud. He just became a dud at the club. Man.
No, that's sad.
Some of the the guys he signed when he was at Monaco, because he helped build that Lille team as we've been talking about, and the Monaco team as well. And even like what he's done with PSG in terms of moving them towards more of like a not just signing the big names, they're signing guys that actually fit better together. With that Monaco team, he helped sign Falcao, Moutinho, James, Fabinho, Anthony Martial, Ricardo Carvalho, Dimitar Berbatov, Bernardo Silva, Bakayoko Kondogbia, and Thomas Lemar. And every single one of those was a success, and some of those he even then sold for huge profits.
Yeah, like Fabinho was like 50-something million, as I remember. Bakayoko was 40 million as well to Chelsea.
Yeah, we don't talk about him.
Well, just saying, like, you know, they sold Mbappe as well for like how much? 200 million.
I think it was like it was just under 200, I think, but still hell of a lot.
Yeah, like
41, I think.
Like for a club what doesn't like have big funds and everything, they definitely made a lot of profit from the players they had. Lemar for to Atletico as well, right?
Didn't he pick up for a bit?
Yeah.
I was going to say,
did he fall off?
You got Pepe as well, who they sold for 72 mil in terms of Lille. That's obviously with Lille. Like this guy manages to buy players and sell players. Like he manages to find gems, and then if they need to sell them, he sells them for vast amount of money.
And with Chelsea, we won't be really a selling club, really, to be honest. Like if a really good player like comes to Chelsea, we probably won't sell unless it's a really high fee, like say like crazy amount, like 200 million if he's like valued like that. If we're just gonna let him go, but like I don't think we'll like be selling like a lot of players.
So for me, the next big question would be, what are your guys' personal preferences when it comes to Luis Campos and selecting a football director? Well, hold on. Do you go for Luis Campos or do you wait for Michael Edwards?
Luis Campos is arguably the best director of football currently in football.
That's what I'm saying.
There are if I'm putting them in like tiers or like kind of classes, him and one other person are in a class of their own, and I rate Edwards highly, but Edwards for me is the tier below that. There are two people who are in the very top tier in terms of top echelons of directors of football, and Edwards is one of them. Sorry, not Edwards. Campos is one of them. Edwards is the second one. Ranić. As a director of football, him and Campos for me are unmatched. You can say what you want about him. You can say what you want about him. But as
Ranić used to be in the Red Bull group.
As a director of football, some of the stuff that he's done, unreal. But yeah, him and Campos.
He wanted to be a director for United, but they kind of fucked him over, didn't they?
Oh, they sacked him. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
He quit.
He wants.
Right. Sorry, my bad.
Remember, Ranić wants to go into management. That was his whole thing. He didn't want to become like a director anymore.
He's not a good manager.
Well, listen, we'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah, I think for me, when it comes to Campos, I would like Campos. I think it would be a great help, particularly with squad building. I think that's something that we need. Like, I know that the club somewhat seems like there's an idea of what's going on right now in terms of the squad building process, but he would at least allow it to be more streamlined and help the recruitment team also look at guys that are going to be complementary to the ethos or whatever we're trying to build at the club. So I feel like he'd be a good buy, and particularly we're not going to be spending money of like how we're spending now. Campos would be a great guy to bring in and find like good young top players, a cheap or mid-level price, rather than having to splash the cash every single time on top players.
Do you know what the thing is with a guy like Campos as well though, is when they do splash the cash, more often than not it's hits. So when he does get the checkbook out and decides to spend big for a player, he hits more often than not. Like you can say what you want about like some midfielders for PSG this season, right? But like the guys that they signed were all quality players.
Like, Vic's talking about you there.
Wait, what?
I think
Did we just lose Scott?
No, I'm still here.
Oh, okay. No. I don't know. Why'd you stop talking?
Because someone laughed at it. It was like some weird laugh.
Yeah. No, I think it's Chris was laughing at Redneck Blue referring to Oliver.
Sorry.
Oh yeah.
I was so confused. But yeah, as I said, like I'm all for Campos, like every single day of the week.
Oliver, do you agree with that?
Sorry, what was the point again?
Campos.
You're bad as me, man.
No, he did it one time, dude. He can't be nearly as bad as you. He just pulled you, okay?
Wait,
would you prefer?
I like Campos.
Do you prefer Campos now, or would you rather wait for Edwards in the summer?
I mean, I'm stuck in two minds of this because Campos is fantastic, and you know, I would obviously take him. But you know, looking at Edwards as well, like I'd say the one thing that Edwards has over him is that, you know, the proof is kind of in the pudding. He has built a Premier League winning side, and that's in our league. He scouted properly for our league, so that's the only thing I can really say that Edwards has over Campos. Other than that,
he's had a rebuild, pretty essentially.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know too much about Campos, like the details. I just know that he's.
I was referring to Edwards, but yeah.
No, I'm talking about comparing them. I don't know what I don't know what the rebuilds Campos has been in, but I'd say the only thing I'd take Edwards for is the fact that he's done it. Other than that, I think Campos has the better track record of talent overall.
Oh, all right, Chris.
Yeah, like honestly, I would take him. Like we had Marino for like years, and like
damn, you guys really want Campos, okay?
Yeah, like no, yeah, because like his track record, like you can see, like he signed a bunch of players, and he can also sell players like for a good price. So that is one thing what Mourinho could do is like sell players somehow, for, like, you know, back of a hand, like how. So yeah, like maybe he can do that for us as well, and also like scout some get some good players and like cheap players, what potentially becomes like really good for us. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, from what you guys are telling me, and from what I know about Edwards, it seems like there's two. It depends on what direction Chelsea want to go in. It seems like, at least to me, from my perspective, if we want to go towards something that's going to be suitable for a rebuild, and building up the club from scratch, pretty much, which is essentially kind of what we're doing. It seems like Edwards is the guy that has that CV for that with Liverpool and what he did there. But if we're looking at like overall just proper talent scouting and profitability as well from it, Campos seems like the guy. And I think at the end of the day, like Bowley and Igbali, money does talk. So it seems like Campos does seem to be like the favorite in this decision. So, I mean, either or, they are both really good directors. They would both make for really good directors. I rate them both, so hopefully we get one or the other. I'm just glad that this is still being discussed in the news, and that we haven't given up on that search. But yeah, before we move on to the next topic, Paulo, I will forgive you if you and the rest of the 53 people in chat smash that like button. Help us get to 40 likes, guys, and all will be forgiven. But let's go ahead and move on to the next topic that I wanted to discuss with you guys, which is Potter and the price tag that he came at. So apparently there's been a bit of a reveal about how much Potter cost Chelsea. This is coming from Nazar Kinsella. So Brighton's accounts show that Chelsea paid £21.5 million for Graham Potter. It's thought to be a world record compensation sum for a manager, which is doesn't seem like a lot, but for a manager, that is a pretty decent amount. And I'm not gonna lie, Bowley looking a little bit like Ted Lasso, Ted Lasso energy there. Let's go ahead and the next tweet, which is Ahmed, the tweet you shared with us, which also has somewhat to do with all memes that's going on at Chelsea, because we're kind of a joke right now with the current manager we had. But Bowley basically replying to these Ted Lasso rumors. We had nothing to do with these arrangements. The deal with Apple was struck in quarter one of 2022. We're sorry it affected so many, and mostly we care about Ray and his family. We would also point out that none of the Chelsea players are actual Chelsea players. Hopefully that was clear. So yeah, people being outraged because the Ted Lasso, I guess one of the more recent episodes, had edited out the Ray I'm sorry guys, the Ray
banner instead of the Ray ban.
Okay, yeah, the Ray Wilkins banner was edited for Lasso, right? Instead.
Yeah.
No, for
today's episode.
Ted Lasso character called Roy. A Ted Lasso character.
Oh, okay,
called
thank
Roy.
you. Got you.
Simple.
So yeah, it was edited out, and people were outraged because we're a fragile society. Look, we're
ill-informed as well, because this whole thing was set up under Roman Abramovich. So people trying to weaponize this against Todd Bowley are just, quite frankly, misinformed.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
I saw Mr. Minerals get mad at that, and then people was telling him straight, this is done under Roman.
True. What do you guys think of this price tag?
Stupid.
I want to comment on that because let's go on, Chris. Sorry.
No, like you go ahead.
I just wanted to say I don't know that it is the most expensive one, because I looked up Nagelsmann, because Nagelsmann was supposedly, if this is true, he was the previous record holder, and he cost Bayern 25 million to get out of Leipzig, and I converted it. It's euros, but I converted it to pounds, and if you're going off the reports about Nagelsmann, it's actually like £500,000 off. So like, what's it? Nagelsmann is like £500,000 more expensive. So it's small margins, but either way, it's up there, and doesn't look the greatest on us right now, I guess.
But this is for Brighton though, like a Brighton manager who hasn't really won anything, and like I don't understand why we had to go. Like, shouldn't, like, this is what I said before, I think a while ago. Shouldn't Chelsea job be enough for like to convince him not actually like splash like 20-something million? Like, that's crazy.
We had to buy out his contract.
Do you know why I'm not getting annoyed at this? Is because kind of just what's been pointed out by Oliver in terms of the only reason people will get outraged by this is because of the position we're in. Yeah, that's the only reason why people will get outraged by this. Do you know why people aren't speaking about, the fact that that Bayern basically did the same thing we did? They bought out a contract of a guy that had like about 2 years experience at German's top level, had won fuck all. I'm pretty sure, apart from maybe a DFB Cup.
He's very young as well. He's in his 30s, isn't he?
I was going to say he was younger than some of the players they had.
Yeah.
And you know why people aren't complaining or making a big deal out of that? It's because Bayern are winning things and doing well. The only reason why people will complain about this, in terms of the price tag, is because we're not in a good position.
I'm asking this because I genuinely don't know. I'm very only Chelsea track minded, but is Nagelsmann doing a better job than Flick?
No, he's not. No, he's not.
No, there's actually a title race going on right now.
That's the thing. There's a chance they don't win the title this season.
Yeah, which would be absolutely
terrible
for Nagelsmann.
Haven't they won it for like the last 11 years? So.
I say it's not even Dortmund. The fact that Union Berlin are in the title race is both a massive congrats on them, but also a bit of an indictment on Bayern.
They weren't even in the Bundesliga a few years ago, weren't they?
Yeah, I look at it. I have actually looked at the team. I think who the hell are half these players, and they're actually competing. So
that's the thing. Is like, as I said, Dortmund basically did the same thing that we did in terms of they took a punt on a guy that had a massive upside. I tell a lot. I do apologize. When they hired him, he'd been managing for 6 years, 6 or 5 and a bit years in the Bundesliga. But yeah, they took a massive punt on a guy with a massive upside, who wasn't necessarily going to win everything straight away, but they had faith that could, be there for a long time, do similar things to what like Jupp Heynckes had done for them in terms of how long he was there for the first time and things like that. We did the same thing. Like the owners took a punt on a guy that at the time, no one can argue had a massive upside as a manager in terms of improving players, in terms of the way he coached. Like, that's the thing about Potter that I can't actually really argue. I think he's a good coach. I think there's other aspects of being a manager that let him down, mainly like man management and not man management, like in-game management.
I think the stage is too big for him, and I think it's getting to his head.
I actually think, like, I was thinking about this the other day. I think he'd make an amazing assistant coach, because his man management skills I think are really good, and I think his actually coaching ability is really good in terms of coaching patterns and play and coaching, like in terms of on pitch, how a system works and whatnot. I just don't think it's like some of the stuff as a manager, like the press conferences, the in-game management, stuff like that. I think that's what lets him down. I actually think his coaching on the coaching side, he's really good.
Yeah. Like the
Yeah,
in-game management is the one.
But yeah, just before you go on, just quickly go back to me. I said I did the same thing. The only reason that people don't get pissed off about that or don't get outraged about that is they're doing well. People are only getting outraged about the money because of where we are. That's all it is.
Yeah, I was just going to say the in-game management's the weird one for me because, like, at Brighton, he never took off all of his attackers and put midfielders on. Like that's the one thing I've been seeing all over the place. Like, he never did this, so that's the weird one. I don't know what's going on there, but yeah.
I have to address something here because this is a weird comment that I'm seeing right now, and I just don't know how people can see it this way other than biases. Eugen, can you tell me what profit Bowley and Igbali have made from Chelsea this season, or in the past, this year?
Right now, the minus.
Right. So I don't know how you can say this and say like it's about money when they've put money into over $1 billion expansion of the club. They've put a record-breaking fee in January, literally mirroring the summer transfer window. What else have they done that they spend money? They got all new staff. They paid this much for Potter. They broke a fee for Potter. Like, it's just
new contract as well.
I get it's long term, but like, look at how like I understand what you're saying, Eugen. It's like a long term thing, but also like, look at how FSG has run Liverpool. I mean,
terrible to me.
It seems terrible to me. Like, the fans will complain a lot about the midfield and all that stuff and how they haven't upgraded. And look at they're United as well. Like, they're making profit, but you see how them making profit affects the club. So
I
don't know.
I was going to say,
United their own situation.
They're making profit while their stadium's got holes in it is leaking.
Yeah. So it's like
their bathrooms is wrong. Pissed of a week or
I was going to say, and their women's team, where the women's team play, I'm pretty sure the toilets are broken, or I heard something like that. Like,
this guy was recording. It was like there's walking.
He's in Old Trafford, yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, and to be fair, ultimately, anyone who even Roman, all right. I'm just gonna say this out, like even for Roman. I'm not trying to slander Roman. At the end of the day, all of them are businessmen, and all of them. Like, the purpose of Roman buying Chelsea was to protect Roman's money. Like, at the end of the day, all of this is surrounding money. So it's not like you're going to get an owner that's going to be charitable and just going to be like, oh, no, I love the club. I'm proper Chelsea, Eden Hazard and fucking Drogba. Like, no, like, it doesn't really exist. Like, it's always going to be about money. It is a business. Yeah. So, like, I get it. Like, I get where you guys are coming from. But at the same time, like, it's not like it's business oriented. They don't care about the club. They care about the club because they have to, they have to. Otherwise, they don't make money.
You know what? I just hope. Go on.
No, so you go on, Chris.
I was gonna say the one thing I just hope with like Bowley, like with Roman, right? There's one objective for him to basically win everything. I hope like with Bowley, he just wants to win everything for like maybe himself as an owner for Chelsea. He wants to like continue that, but like make it stronger, like just win everything again. So I hope like that's his like main thing. But you can go on, Scott.
And
also, that, you make more money.
And before Scott goes, also like look at the players we've been getting. Like we've been getting like quality players. Yeah, listen. I'm not trying to protect Bowley. I'm not trying to be a Bowley apologist. He's made plenty of mistakes, the biggest one being the current manager, in my opinion. But outside of that, like when we look at the players, like we've gotten quality players for the future of the club.
Well, Enzo Fernandez is so good. Like I'm so happy.
Potential legends. Look, I might be speaking too soon, but potential legendary players for the club. Like these players are going to make history, in my opinion.
It's not even just that. Like, why would you go out of your way as an owner to invest 30 million or whatever it was, or in a French club that is making no money? Like, if you're not focused on the club you own, building a like quote unquote dynasty, like why have you invested so much money into guys that know how a multi-club model works if you're not interested in growing that club as a multi-club sort of City Football Group, Red Bull-esque type group? Like, yeah. And as you said, It doesn't matter whether you are an owner of Chelsea, an owner of Brighton, or an owner of Lincoln City. You want to make money at the end of the day, because like the more money you make, the more money your club is making, and the more money your club is making, the bigger it can grow, and the bigger it grows, the more money you make, and the more successful the club is, and the more successful the club is, the more eyes on the club, and the more eyes on the club, the more shirts are being bought, and the better TV deals, and guess what? More money for you. Like it's a constant cycle of like, and this is what owners like the Cronkies to begin with, like they've got a bit better recently, and particularly the Glazers never got. It's like the more money that you invest in a club, in the right areas, of course, the bigger the club will be, the bigger the club gets, the more eyes on it. Also, the bigger the club gets, the theoretically the better the club gets, the more they win, the more eyes that come on it, the more money for you. Like at the end of the day, money is involved in so many things with football, but it doesn't have to be just money. Like obviously they want as much money as possible, because they're businessmen and they're billionaires, and they got that way by being a certain type of way. But they also want the best for their clubs. This is a guy who Marshall probably know way more about him than I will, but from what I have done through limited research and through hearing things, like this is a guy that took a kind of okay baseball team, and how many times have they won the World Series now, Marshall?
Quite a handful of time. They're a pretty dominant team in football. They're like always favorites to win the World Series.
Yeah, and usually when it comes to like,
they've always been like competitive, but now they're like cemented their competitiveness. So like they're always in playoffs. Yeah, they've been elevated to the next level in recent years.
They're like the Celtics, innit? They're like the Celtics right now currently. If you know, like,
in a sense, yeah.
There we go.
Well, they're just like
he took an okay team that was kind of doing okay, and he took them over, and now they're one of the most dominant teams in baseball.
Yeah, like, and also like let's not even discredit the Lakers. Like he took the Lakers and continued that Lakers trajectory of like competing and
listen, I know NBA.
Okay, well, yeah, you know better than I do.
Yeah, that's a family business. You know what
I
I mean?
just looked up. I just looked up for the Dodgers actually. So under Bowley's ownership, he won them. He basically got them to their first World Series in like 32 years.
Hey, there we go. Then.
Oh Jesus, yeah, there you go. Wow.
But they won.
Yeah, I didn't even know that.
So their last one was in 2020. Before that, they last won it in 1988.
Mm-hmm.
So 32 years, roughly.
Yeah, and like I mean, what Scott was alluding to earlier as well. There is a way where like you can have money and just completely invest the money in the wrong areas. And I think the best example of a team like that would be probably PSG, where they get all these fantastic players, but for some reason they just can't seem to get the trophies and the winning ways. Like, yeah, they win their league, but where are they in the Champions League? Where for a club like that, that's like their biggest target. They're not.
It's because they did the same thing United did, and this is where I said like, and this is where this idea of like, this idea of like spending money and people talking about buying the league as well. This is a completely different point that like you could spend out, like I could spend a lot of time talking about, but I'll try and be quick with it. This idea of like buying the league, is kind of wrong, because like you can buy the league in a sense, but you've got to spend the money in the right way. Like that's what United have not done for years. It's what PSG have not done. Like that's why this recent window in terms of the summer one, for them was a lot more positive. Even though it hasn't worked out with some players, but it's because they're going in a different direction. Like instead of going and spending in one window about 400 million on two players that can't coexist together in any universe, because both of them want to be the guy and both of them don't really defend. So that means you've got two players out of 11 who don't want to defend in any way, putting more pressure on the other players, isn't going to work. But they didn't realize that. They just thought it would work. Like, and it's the same way when you then have three guys who all want to be the guy and all don't want to defend, and that's your entire attacking front three. It puts extra. You see what I mean? Like, just because you spend money doesn't mean anything. You have to spend it in the right ways.
Exactly. Which is I wanted to, again, emphasize that, because it's not about the spending money, Eugene. It's about where you spend it, right? So, like I said, PSG, you see how they've been successful? Not really, though. They haven't been successful in Europe, only in their league. Exactly. And the same thing goes for United. They have money because of the name and the power that name holds. United.
What made them successful was a good manager. They spent. They do. The United do spend.
But they had a
lot of
structure
money.
too, Chris. They had a structure too, because even under wow, why help me? What's the name? What's the manager that they had that won 3? Alex Ferguson, thank you. Even under Sir Alex Ferguson, they had a good director of football. I drew a blank, guys. It happens from time to time. You know, I have hiccups.
Alex Ferguson, though.
I'm sorry. Listen, that guy's old, all right. But yeah, it's and also like you got to look at the bigger picture too. Bowley's only had 8 months, really. Like, come on, guys. He's only been an owner for almost a year. Like, if you wanted him to win as many trophies as Roman by now, you're just being unrealistic at this point. Like, you gotta give it time, you know. This stuff takes time to build.
Right. Can I say with like, you know, when Roman came in, like, he obviously instant success. Like, it's different time as well. Like, there wasn't many like English Premier League clubs like really compete for Premier. You had Man United and
Arsenal. That's it.
Yeah, like Arsenal. Arsenal were good. Obviously, yeah, they won the league as well, but like they were starting to fall off eventually. So now you got like Man City, who's like dominating. You got a good Liverpool side who's still good. The whole Premier League spends money. We see Nottingham Forest spend 200 million, get 30 plus players in this season. So it's like a whole different season. You sound confused, like what I said though, but like
I'm thinking right now because I'm like, wait a minute. All I could remember back then, like competitive teams, was just United, Chelsea, and Arsenal. Who's the 4th place team?
There were, shit, I'm trying to remember back then. I don't think
there was a 4th place.
Spurs. It used to be Spurs.
I'm quite young.
Okay, yeah. It was probably Spurs. Yeah. Spurs was up there.
Yeah. It would have been Spurs. Because like Roman was supposed to play Roman as well, apparently. Yeah.
Liverpool sometimes. I'm used to Liverpool usually being around 8th place. Man City weren't relevant. They're a bottom table team.
They did win Champions League in 05. I think I can remember Liverpool. So there was a decent start.
Like, Liverpool were frequently in the Champions League. We faced them loads of times in the late.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, semis.
Everton were always in that discussion too. They were like a 5th, 6th place team.
But Liverpool weren't winning the league though, as well. Like that's my point.
Oh no.
Like that's my whole point with it. Like now you got a bunch of teams who could potentially win it. Like even Man United, even Newcastle. Watch Newcastle in a few seasons. They could be competing for that league. They will. So like, there's a lot of teams who have a lot of money now. Like even Nottingham Forest have a lot of money.
You got these big owners, but it's also about the TV money that they've been getting since 2011. You know, the whole league is rich. You know, that's why you've got Nottingham Forest outspending most like leagues, for example. So
they outspent a few. Like they outspent Liverpool this season. They haven't outspent Tottenham, I don't think. But they've outspent like Liverpool, for example, and Liverpool a big club.
Like the fact that a team like that can get Keylor Navas in on loan, like that just kind of goes to show it's a bit mad.
As has been pointed out in the comments, Bournemouth and AC Milan both went in for the same player in the winter transfer window, and Bournemouth bid more than AC Milan.
Premier League something else, man.
That's just dumb. It's just wild.
The Premier League's huge, man. We don't need a Super League. This is the Super League.
No, we are the Super League. Exactly.
Yeah. We don't need it.
That's why Perez wants to start the Super League to basically get even up.
What's the funny thing about that though is that it used to be La Liga because like all the money used to come in with La Liga because of Barca and Real Madrid. This is going wildly off topic. So.
I look, I was all for it though. Like it was a good discussion. Just to get back on topic,
it's an interesting. Like, all of that is, as I said, like with what we were discussing earlier as well in terms of like what I said
tag and all that.
About for ages, I can't remember what it was. Like, it's good discussion points. It's just so wildly off topic.
Well, let's get back on topic then, boys. Let's get through some of these. We could skip some of them too, because again, this is a really slow news week when it comes to Chelsea. I'm not gonna lie, but then again, it's only been 2 days since the last show. So let's go ahead and talk about Kovacic. There's been a little bit of an update on Kovacic in perspective, where the club's at with the signing here. So Chelsea likes Mateo Kovacic and they value him. I've always been told that the club is keen on at least speak about extending his contract, even though no talks have yet started. But that has always been their stance. It has been on Kovacic's side where the doubts came in last season and some of this season. He has been keen to look over at other challenges pending a move away this summer. I believe I believe he has always been willing to keep all his options open, which, again, look, I'm not going to get upset about Kovacic if he decides to go elsewhere or if he decides to have his options open, per se. He has the right to. He's at that age where he has another contract left in him before
Hopefully at Chelsea.
Before leaving Chelsea or
He's only
possibly
got a year
considering
left
retirement.
as well. Just like Mount, he's only got a year left.
Yeah, but he's the more valuable player to me. Like, he's a more talented
Well,
player.
yeah,
Oh,
obviously,
of course.
But you're going to have your options open when you're in that situation.
I just don't want to lose this guy. He's such a good player. Like, even with Enzo, he's looked like he's linking up really well. Like, he does a lot, like, ticking boxes for me. Like, just not go. But like, if he went to a Man City, for example, he'd do so good over there. He would suit Pep's system.
He really would.
And people say, "Oh shit, why did we get rid of this guy?" Like the people who just shit on him all the time, like just doing all that shit. Like he deserves to go in that way, like just to like prove him wrong. But like I don't want him to go because Kovacic has been one of my favorite players, like in a good while. He's not my favorite player, but he's one of them. And he's such a eye-pleasing player to watch as well. Like on the ball, like he's so good on the ball.
Can I ask you a question? Because like. We could talk about like N'Golo Kante, and we can say like prime N'Golo Kante. There's not really other players out there that are like N'Golo Kante. Like N'Golo Kante is like in a category of himself, like prime N'Golo Kante.
They're compared
Would you
to
say?
Makalele, but...
Yeah, I could see that. Which Kovacic, do you not think that there are other midfielders out there in the market right now that are similar to Kovacic? I know Kovacic is good. I'm not saying he's not, but I feel like he can be replaced.
Right. There could be a similar player to Kovacic. Yes, there could be. But like, here's the thing: like, that player could come in and flop. I know what I'm getting with Kovacic, a very consistent midfielder. Like, and who's not like on crazy wages. He's like what 150 right now. Yeah, he'd go a higher wage, like 180. But that's not too bad either. Like that's not like a bad wage. I just feel like with Kovacic, he's experienced too. I want experienced players in the squad too. I don't want, because the next player we'll look for as a midfielder, we'll look for young. We won't look for like a 25-year-old. We'll look like for a 22, 23-year-old. So I want experienced players still, Marshall.
So this is the one thing I like. I'm not attacking you, Chelsea Blue. I'm just saying this is a thing that comes up. And Chris, we've talked about this. This is a thing that comes up with Kovacic way too often. And I would like to hear what Oliver and Scott have to say about this. I disagree with this notion that we need midfielders to score and assist. I need midfielders, and not even Enzo. I just need midfielders that can create, because at the end of the day, if we have attackers that are scoring the goal, that like wingers and attack and forwards that are scoring the goals that they need and getting the assists that they need, at the end of the day, I could give less of a shit what the midfield does. It's because we're so deprived of goals and assists from the attacking that we now have to put it and stick it onto, like, at one point Chelsea fans were discussing getting a DM that can, run up the pitch and score goals. Like, since when is that the important part of a DM? Like, since when do we care about that from a DM?
It's just based on the fact that like we've had like Lampard in the past who's played as like Lampard played in the pivot sometimes, especially later into his Chelsea career, and he's still got in the goals. It's just based on our history really, and what people remember from a guy like Frank Lampard as like the perfect central midfielder. I think that has a lot of influence.
Players like Lampard and De Bruyne are such exceptions to the rule when it comes to midfield.
That's the problem.
The majority of midfielders aren't goal scorers and like huge creators. Like, they're not Luka Modric's, they're not Lampards, they're not Balak's. Like, and even Balak, I don't know if Balak was like a top goal scorer, but
he could
he had it in him. He could score goals. Like, I like that Enzo has it in him, but I'm not gonna get on Enzo if like at the end of the season I'm looking at like, look, I think I get PTSD for the Mason Mount thing, right? Because I looked at Mason Mount last season, I fucking hated it, but he got the output, and I'm like, I don't care about this output. Your performances suck. And then I looked at Mason Mount the year before, and I was complaining about the output. But now I'm like, you know what? I'd rather the performances from a midfielder.
It's about getting a player that can marry both together. Like, you look at
that'd be ideal.
You look at this season like a Martin Odegaard, or in many previous seasons, Kevin De Bruyne. They've been able to marry those two things together, and that's where you get a world-class player.
Right, with like they say midfielders scoring goals. Does Modric like every season get loads of goals? No. But like, do people value him really highly? Yes, because he wins the midfield battle a lot of times.
Go look at
pass, and he's good on the ball. I'm not saying Kovacic is a Modric, because he's not, but he's like a a level lower, like a Modric for sure. But Modric doesn't get goals, but people obviously love him because how good he is. Like all I care about in midfield is winning the midfield battle a lot of times and basically pushing up to attack. That's all I care for, and Kovacic does that for me. Like,
I'd say as well. Probably it depends on the system you're playing. I think that's a key thing. You know, different systems and particularly different formations are going to ask different things from different players. If we're playing a 3-4-3, we're not going to be asking our double pivot to contribute goals and assists. That should be the wing backs and the attackers. If we're playing a 4-2, if we're playing a 4-2-3-1 in terms of the midfield,
but he's not wrong, by the way. Like,
yeah,
he's absolutely not wrong.
Shit on
Can I ask a question? How many goals? Did Mount get last season?
11, 10.
11 I think 11 in the Prem.
That's more Modric. Modric always gets under 10.
No, Chris, that's nearly half of Modric's entire goal scoring record at Real Madrid.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, though. This is what I'm getting at. Like, we're not shitting on Modric for being a bad midfielder because he doesn't get the numbers.
And same thing, like, one of the best midfielders of our generation.
I know. And to go back to, like, someone in the comments said mentioned something about Gundogan. I rate Gundogan. I would take Gundogan to Chelsea all day. But is he putting like high goal scoring numbers? Is he better than De Bruyne when it comes to goal scoring?
He scored 39 goals while at City.
Yeah, that one
he scores goals, and
he's had one
he ended Sanchez's career at Spurs pretty much.
He did.
So like, I love Gundogan. Like, I would take him in my team any day, but he's not like a prolific goal scorer or a prolific assist making machine. You know,
but he's a very complete player. Like, you look at him at Dortmund.
Yeah.
You look at him at Dortmund. He was a deep line playmaker. You look at him in that mad year at City. He was getting in the box, scoring goals. You know, he has those elements to him.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't believe midfielders, especially who sits in DM, a lot of times should be actually like required to score goals or assists. Like we've been this. I think that why Chelsea do this because we don't see our attack get goals and assists really. Most of our attack don't do it.
This goes towards what you're saying, though, Chelsea Blue. I feel like if we had the prolific attackers, we wouldn't be talking about Kovacic in this manner. I feel like Kovacic has set up a lot of goals, and we just don't finish it.
Can I ask the question? How many people were complaining about how many people complained that Liverpool's midfield got like no goals? No one, because they had Salah getting like 40 goals in a league season or whatever it was. No one gave a fuck. Like, it does. Like, that's the thing. If all of our attackers are getting 15 to 20 goals each in like, so let's say like 20 goals each in all comps, depending on how many competitions we're playing in, no one's caring about the amount of goals and assists, or particularly goals that Kovacic gets. Assists, fair enough, maybe. But no one's caring about the goals. It's because our attack is inconsistent in terms of their numbers. That's the problem.
Even to look at like a Chelsea example, like you look at Kante in his first season, you know, no one cared that Kante didn't get goals and assists. We had Costa, we had Hazard, we had Pedro, all doing the business up front. We had Alonso. You know, no one cared because you can offer a world-class attribute in a different area, and you don't need to cover for other people's deficiencies like that.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like if I personally feel we could find a replacement for Kovacic. I think there are midfielders out there that can get the job done. Probably not as good, but like decent enough, you know, and will develop into decent players. I think it is possible, but I do like Kovacic. I do want him to stay.
May I say something, Marshall?
Go ahead, Carlito.
I think that the player that would be a replacement for him is the one that Liverpool wants to buy. His name is Mateus Nunes. Plays for what is it? Watford Wolves or Watford?
No, Wolves. He plays for Wolves right now.
Yeah. I mean, they play similarly.
He don't get a lot of goals.
No. I'm talking about style of play. They play similarly, but the thing about it, I think, has become a way for Chelsea to put this back on the table is his personnel. It's that Enzo really likes playing with him. That's obvious because as soon as they started playing together, Enzo started playing considerably better. Now people are not even mentioning the price tag even more, even rival fans. And you have Kovacic and the notion of his contract being brought back up on the table as something that Chelsea wants to prioritize. Now, do I hope they do? Yeah, he's fucking fabulous. And he's an almost impossible player to replicate unless you are a guy like Mateus Nunes who does play like him. But even then, he's not as good as Kova. So if they have a chemistry And then you bring in a guy like Andre Santos who can also carry the ball. And if Kova gets injured, we could replace him kind of with that. Those are the types of situations that I want to see. I don't want to see us let him go unless he absolutely says, I want something new. And I'm not convinced that he does. Because when he was initially making those decisions on leaving, when he was initially talking to Chelsea about, I want a new experience, that was before we bought Enzo Fernandez, the boy that Scott called out saying we should buy. And I know this is a young guy. I still consider him a kid, but Enzo is going to be unreal. And I think Kova feels like it's a new lease on life. You know, it feels like it's adding years to his career, making him feel young again, a rejuvenation, like a proverbial boner pill, right? Like I feel like Enzo and Kova, it could be a partnership that could last for a couple more years. And if I was Kova, I'd want to play with Enzo. If I was Enzo, I'd want to play with Kova. And don't kid yourself, they talk about it.
And you know what? Another thing we should mention before I move on to another midfielder that I do want to talk about that I just remembered last minute, and I think it's going to make for an interesting conversation.
Ooh,
the other thing was I think maybe Kovacic might be swayed to stay because if I recall correctly, earlier in the season we saw comments from him saying that he was upset with the constant change in staffing, and I think maybe him seeing that the club have not sacked Potter and given him time, and maybe he could turn it around, and he's gotten, he's got the captaincy ban, obviously. So Potter respects him enough to give him the captaincy ban, and, is playing him more often now. Like you said, Carlito, the partnership with Kova and such. Chris, you got to go.
Yeah.
I'll catch you later, man.
Yeah. I'll see you later. Part out.
Mm-hmm. we'll see with Potter, right? But that being said, that could sway Kovacic into maybe saying like, you know what, it seems like with the new owners there's going to be more consistency here, no more swapping and changing of managers and freaking trainers and all that stuff. So maybe there's some sort of something here, stability here, and maybe I can stay. And
Marshall, can I throw one thing else at you? Just from make this more like a human being thing, like an actual office workplace environment, because it is. Yeah. It's a remember, guys, this is a job, and they go to the job every day. They get there early, and then they stay late after training. It is a job. Think of it this way. They just hired a new coworker that you have unbelievable chemistry with, and you were on the fence about whether you wanted a new challenge, maybe you wanted to work somewhere else. But then that guy comes in, and you instantly have chemistry with him, and you're going to be working on projects together for not just the foreseeable future, but for years to come. And if this works great for you, you feel challenged, you feel supported, and that is reciprocated with him. Don't you think that you would think twice about leaving that job if you have this rejuvenated sense of purpose and belonging?
Yeah.
And you're also being given the captaincy as well, so it shows.
Dude, don't kid yourself. That's big too. Like if he's given the captaincy permanently, because I know that Thiago's going to be here another year, but I feel like Thiago's going to be like a player coach next year. But if Kova is the captain, then come on.
It might not mean a lot to us, but that's a huge deal for a player.
It's an honor, Marshall.
Yeah, especially for Chelsea.
Which should be, yeah.
Of course it should be. It's a huge deal. I'm sure it's something that he's wanted for a while. It's something that we flirted with, Marshall. He's been captain before, but not like this. Not where it's consistently. Not where it's like Aspie's going to leave. Jorginho has left. There is a vacuum of leadership. And in stops the guy that's probably also going to be captain of Croatia and whom everybody speaks glowingly about. It's a huge win, and if they stay, it's only going to be better for Enzo. So
let me bring up this next topic. I think I'm ready for this one. I'm excited for this, and I'm just getting my hopes up only for it to be crushed.
Oh shit! Marshall! I came in at a good time.
Yeah, you did. So this just happened recently, and I totally forgot about it until last minute. Yeah. So Barcelona's appeal to register Gavi has been rejected in court, meaning he will return to youth contract and lose his number 6 shirt. The youth contract also includes a clause that allows him to leave on a free in the summer. Barca will further appeal, reports by Paul Balus. Is he going to leave Barca? I don't think so. He strikes me as the type of player that really just wants to stay in La Liga. But But I think Chelsea, if they can, should swoop in and get this kid because this guy can play. This guy is an amazing midfielder. And if I see him next to Enzo, it's mad.
No.
It's mad. It's
fucking minerals, bro.
That's the real minerals right there. If you see both of them in the
Scott,
midfield.
I gotta ask you this, Scott. Does this mean that his current salary has been retroactively canceled, or is next year's salary?
I assume it'll be I assume he'll still be on because he won't have to be able to get the increase in salary. He'll have needed to sign the contract, but he can't sign the contract
If it's null and void.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, based on the fact of, as far as I can tell, La Liga aren't accepting the new contract because of money issues.
Yeah.
So I assume he's just going to be on what he already is on. He's literally just going to be on his current wages. But I don't know quite how it's going to work because with him being on a youth contract, it means he can literally sign for another team, as I said, for free. I think all they will receive is compensation, just because that's how youth contracts work.
Yeah.
But I don't quite know how this works, especially because I saw a thing today from Fabrizio Romano that they're literally finalizing a deal for a guy on a free. So I don't understand the Barca situation. I'm going to be completely honest.
Which player, Scott, are you talking about?
Inigo Martinez. No, they're looking to sign Inigo Martinez on a free.
That's right. Yeah. Okay.
But I don't. Also, on a side note, I don't know why they need another centre back when they've got about 12. I don't understand the situation at Barca. I fully don't understand the situation.
They got Longley coming back as well, don't they?
Well, I think Scott. I think my interpretation of everything was that they were given not a loan, but maybe a lease on life under the auspices that they're budgeting for getting round of 16 football and beyond, which is a lot of money, a lot more than people think. It's tens of millions, and they didn't get it. And then they were budgeting for the Europa League. They didn't get it. Right, so that's future revenue that they were banking on that they didn't get, and now La Liga is coming back to them and saying all of those things that we were preemptively going to give you a new lease on life of financially, because we do have a salary cap and we are watching you, and you do have to go 4-to-1 on revenue versus expenditures. They're saying that's all gone because all of this promised revenue, all this planned revenue, it's proper fucked.
Sorry, that comment that made me chuckle. That little boy, the little boy Blue Notes comment made me chuckle.
What does it say?
I don't think they do either. They keep fucking. They got a new owner. They got rid of Bartomeu, and they're still doing shit wrong.
He has done that. That man, by the way, has an irreparable damage.
Fucked them. He has completely fucked
that football club from a financial perspective.
Yeah, it's so unfortunate.
Do you guys think that they thought that they would never get called out by La Liga, or did the pandemic really just exacerbate what was already going to happen maybe 3 years from now?
They had American mentality. I just read your name, Cristobal. They had American Carlito. I think they had American mentality, and I think they thought they were too big to fail.
Oh no, I think that they had crypto bro mentality, because there's a difference.
Mentality. Jesus, fair enough. Yeah, listen, I would 100% entertain this Gabi
he's awesome
situation. I think he's a fantastic midfielder, probably one of my up and coming favorites.
Yeah,
but we'll see. There is another midfield I do want to discuss. Let me actually get this ready and going. Yeah, another one. You're one of your favorites, actually, Scott.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
is it gonna?
So let's.
Oh, I know who you're gonna bring up.
Rice, baby.
Because someone in chat brought it up, and you know what? I figured, why not? Let's actually discuss this. So let's talk about Mr. Deckers.
All right, Scott, let's collaborate and listen, man. What do you got for this boy?
Listen, it's new. It's news. It's new news because it's different wording.
Oh, it's new news.
Yeah, it's new news because it's just different. The same thing we've heard every single freaking month for the last 3 years with different wording and different arrangement in the words. So Declan Rice is expected to leave West Ham in the summer. Chelsea and Arsenal discuss him internally, but the race is still open. We've been interested in this guy for how long now? I really don't. I genuinely don't think this is going to happen.
Coming up to 3 years.
I don't think this is going to
Longer than
happen. I think if it would have, listen, we talked about Enzo in January, and it happened like that. We got him in January. We've been talking about Declan Rice for 3 years now. 6 months under Bowley, 8 months under Bowley. I don't think this is happening, ladies and gents. I really don't. I think we need to stop.
He's linked to Arsenal as well, isn't he?
Yep.
Yeah, and heavily linked to Arsenal. I would say more linked to Arsenal than we are. So
especially recently, yeah.
Don't they have two D mids?
They do.
They do.
I think Xhaka's contract is coming up soon, though. So
they don't use him as a D mid, though.
No, but he plays in the pivot, I guess. So
he's good. No, Xhaka's good. I think. Well, he's a captain. He's about 29. I'm sure.
No, other guy's their captain.
Yeah.
Okay, so he did lose his captaincy. Okay, that.
Oh yeah, he lost it ages ago under Emery.
Oh wow. Okay, then I need to get with the times. Fair enough, boys.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, he lost. You remember that incident where he took the captain's armband off and swore at the fans?
I do.
He lost it after that.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. On this, I've my feelings about the player aside. I just don't care. Like, this isn't new news. This is the same.
Exactly.
It might be new news in terms of when it's come out, right? But it's the same nonsense
differently, Scott.
We've heard every single year, bar the fact that now Arsenal are interested. That's the only change.
Yeah, there you go.
The same
so it is
stuff.
news.
He's expected to leave in the summer. Same way he was expected to leave last summer. Same way he was expected to leave the summer before that. And he wouldn't sign a contract extension.
Little boy Blue, I think he would actually come to Chelsea despite Champions League. Because I am convinced he does want to come to Chelsea. Like, there's nothing. Like, I genuinely believe he wants to come to Chelsea. I just think the price tag is different, is too much, and I don't think Chelsea genuinely want him. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Scott. Go ahead.
This is one of those I'll believe it when I see it. Until he leaves West Ham, I don't buy it. Like, the only thing I think will speed up him leaving West Ham is if they get relegated, which I think they are still in the relegation zone as of now.
Still in the relegation, so I'll check.
I don't think they'll get relegated personally.
The bottom 10 is very, very close.
I was going to say there is one team I hope gets relegated more than any other.
Leeds.
It wasn't Leeds.
It's Leeds for me.
Let me see this, but I don't think they'll get relegated.
Yeah, they're in 18th. 1 point behind Leicester. As I said, I'll believe it when I see it. I can't. As I said, I've heard this too many times at this point. I mean, I guess I have a bias against Declan just because of the fan base and how they treat him, and also because I don't think he's worth the price that they labeled him as. But do you guys actually think that him and Enzo would actually be a really good combination?
Yes, it probably would be, but
Rice
I do see it. I do see
Rice
it.
is a good player.
Yeah,
he's a good player. He's fine. I just think he's just vanilla, bro. He's nothing insane. I mean, you look at Enzo and all of the special things he does. In particular, Enzo's best thing is his passing range, and how quickly the ball leaves his foot. But his passing range is extraordinary. Declan Rice, he doesn't have that skill set. He doesn't have those techers, man. It's not his game. It's not what he grew up developing. It's just not something he was ever also asked to do. It's not the culture that he played football in the academy. So it's just not the way they do it. The other thing is that Mason Mount's probably leaving. That was one of the motivations for him coming to Chelsea. So maybe that market is softening, and maybe his stance on the whole thing is dwindling. So it does matter. Playing with your friends does matter. So I don't think it's happening, guys.
Well, then what if Liverpool don't want him, but they want Mount? They can't play together then. There's.
Yeah, I was just about to say, what if Mount goes to Liverpool and all of a sudden the links to Liverpool for Declan Rice start to come?
They probably will, because he's going to be cheaper.
Well, they won't get him anyway, because Liverpool aren't throwing 70 million around. They're already crying that they can't get Bellingham, and he's expensive enough.
Yeah, but he's 150. There's a difference.
I know, but does Declan Rice's contract end this summer?
No, next summer.
It's 2024.
So that makes him what? 50 million. Mount also 50 million. I mean,
That'd be crazy for a
guys,
1-year contract.
Hazard went for an aggregate total of 160 with add-ons. So,
But Hazard was one of the best players in the Premier
and
League.
now
when he
he's
left. This
now
guy
he's
is
the
not
worst.
there.
Now he's the worst buy in the history of that club. But what I'm saying is that, like, dude, these guys are not. FSG is not allergic to spending 100 million. They're not, especially if it's on two players that would probably really help them.
Yeah, I could see Declan Rice actually being really good for.
I could see them both helping Liverpool.
It just depends. It depends what Liverpool are going to prioritise though, because they need more than a Declan Rice and a Mason Mount. They need some centre backs. They need a right back to compete with Trent.
No, they've got a right back to compete with Trent. They don't play him.
Why don't they just sell Trent and get another right back? That's what I would do.
I don't know.
Like there's so many things they could do. Like they don't actually need centre back depth. Maybe like their centre backs they've got good. It's just
they got.
I think there's a regression there. They need some
potentially. I can't lie. I actually don't think Liverpool need that much. They just need midfielders. Like in my opinion, like they just need like 3 midfielders.
Yeah, I agree.
Scott, they've got like 6 attackers. They won't need an attacker for a long time.
No,
it is midfield.
Yeah, they're sorted in attack.
So Marshall, my point is that they'll spend 100 mil on 2 guys for their midfield. Like they need it. So
they do need it. So I mean, on to the next thing I want to talk about. And now I'm not trolling this time. This time, Scott, it is one of your favorite midfielders. So let me go ahead and bring up the potential of this gentleman coming to the club.
For fuck's sake,
Marshall!
Right.
What? I thought you actually met this guy.
When?
Why are you pulling some Kansas City
No.
shit on
Did you
us?
get? Sorry.
What is
Did you
going
get?
on here?
Hang on. Did you get Pereira and Palhinha?
Oh, I did get them confused. Listen, you could understand where I was coming from.
Thought,
right?
sorry, you thought I rated a guy that failed at United and failed where he went in Spain. Like
he played in Spain and couldn't hack it.
Oh no,
Marshall, do you remember when I said?
Right, I guess we're moving on to the next topic.
Do you remember when I said you were a really good host? I don't know, man. I don't know. I think I take the compliment.
Listen, man, I just don't. Pereira, Paulinho, Fulham, you know. Okay, I guess we don't want this guy. I thought
just too casual over here. He's just getting too casual.
A little too casual.
Right, Pereira's having a really good season. I don't want him anywhere near his football.
Yeah, he's almost 28. Like, no, man, no.
It's not even that. There are some glaring flaws in his game. Like, he's at a good enough club in terms of where he can play. Like, maybe you could. I know where Fulham are, but you could maybe say like a step up and say maybe a club like a Leicester or something could be good as well. I know where they are on the table, but I'm talking in terms of team level as a whole.
Dude, he's a lesser Eric Lamela.
Potentially, yeah. But like the thing with him, his decision making in some areas of the final third is so bad.
Yeah,
so bad.
It's just not happening, man.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
I mean, Carney's going to be better. João Felix is already better. Have you guys talked about that we're buying Felix?
Well, thank you for bringing that up.
Look at me hosting better than this guy.
The next thing, shut up. The next thing I wanted to bring up was the potential of João Felix, and he spoke out. So João Felix, I guess they asked him while he was at the Portuguese camp. João Felix, for Beach Romano reporting. I'm not going to speak about clubs as I'm here with Portugal. I can say that I'm enjoying my new life at Chelsea and I'm adapting well to this new chapter. João Felix has established an excellent relationship with new Chelsea teammates. And it looks like he is really enjoying his time here at Chelsea, enjoying the players he's with, and it's almost like he's been resurrected as a player because prior to this transfer, people had doubts, people had hesitancy with João Felix. They were saying another Kai Havertz type of player. He's not going to work out well. And you know what? Even though the GA isn't there, the output, the performances are there. You can tell how big of a difference he makes on the pitch. And I think he should stay, but it also depends on that price tag. But João Felix clearly wants to stay at Chelsea. I think it's very clear to say, and I think you guys, for the most part, will probably be happy to hear this.
I love him.
I've said before, I said on the last stream, like he is so much better than every other attacker we have. Like you can see it when he gets on the ball. his level of playing in terms of his level of understanding, like from a on the pitch perspective and on the ball perspective, in terms of link up play, in terms of where to position himself, in terms of awareness of other players around him, in terms of awareness of other opposition players around him, is so much better and on such a higher level than every other attacker in our team right now. And
Scott,
that is wild to say, considering he is like what, 22, 23?
He's 23. He's 23. So I would say in the front 6 positions, he's the best player on the team.
Yes.
And then in the back, I mean, you know, you got Reese, you got Thiago. I mean, I get it. Great. That's completely different roles. But in terms of our front 6 positions, yeah, he's the best player we have.
Carlito, I'll put it to you like this. Like, if he carries on with the performance he's having between now and the end of the season, this maybe not doesn't say a lot in terms of because of the other players. There is a legitimate argument for him to be in the player of the season debate.
Yeah.
If he carries on with the same level of performances he's having.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
For me, it's obvious that Silva should win it and probably will win it. But again, there probably is an indictment on the rest of our team. But like, it's probably then between like him, Enzo, and Badiashile, depending on how they play for the rest of the season. And again, maybe Reese, depending on like how he plays the rest of the season and with the injuries and everything. It's like those 4 for second place. And that is, especially for the 3 guys that came in January, a massive thing to say.
It's an indictment on the other players, Scott. But
I think it's both. Like I think it's massive on those guys, but also an indictment on the other guys. Like these guys came in halfway through the season.
It's a testament to the football that we play. It's conducive to what he wants. If you've watched Atletico play, it's a bastardization of the modern game. It is anti-football. You know, the Sam Allardyce 19th century shit that Jose Mourinho was talking about. It's like that, man. It's just in a warmer climate. That's it. There's no other difference. It's just terrible football. So I'm sure he hated it. I'm sure a player like him, a futsal type guy, just playing futsal on a big pitch. He wants the ball. He wants to be creative. He wants guys to move off the ball for him. He wants to combine. He wants pattern plays in the final third. We obviously offer all of that. This is the type of football we want to play. It's a no-brainer. His girlfriend's a model. London is big in fashion. I'm sure that London, for a lot of different reasons, he wants to live there. He's really good buddies with Enzo already. It's a no-brainer, guys, and they haven't said it yet, but Atletico can't wait to get that money. They can't wait.
Oliver, did you want to have any input on this one?
No, not really. I love watching him as a player. You know, he just impacts the way we attack in general. You know, it doesn't have to necessarily always be through output. Just the control of the ball and the dribbling. You know, it's enough, and you can just see it the way we impact it. You know, the chances we create. You know, he contributes. So, you know, if we had more clinical players, then you know some of the chances he creates, he would have had an assist by now, or multiple assists. So
true.
It's just about looking at
goals.
Yeah, so the goals is up to his own finishing. You know, stop hitting the woodcuts, I guess. But
true.
You know, you just got to add the context, I guess. You know, you would be getting more assists with better finishes around him. So I can't complain too much. Yeah.
I was going to actually ask, because Patrick brings up a good point here, and this was a worry with João Felix coming into this Chelsea side. Do you guys think because of the way we play that maybe we haven't seen the injury-prone João Felix per se? Or
yes. Can I speak on this, Marshall?
Go ahead, man.
When you play faster combinations and there's less dribbling and there's less one-on-one individualistic play, your players are less likely to get hit, and thus less likely to be tackled, and thus less likely to be injured. Fast combinations, it's kind of like you running away from pressure. Okay, the guy can't get close enough to you to try and hurt you, and that is one result of playing the way that we do play. So yes, it is conducive to keeping players healthy. Ironically, we're still one of the most injured teams in Europe.
I also noticed that you know, when him and Havertz play together, Havertz is usually doing the most of the pressing. And that's not to say that Felix is like Lukaku and doesn't press at all. But, you know, Havertz is definitely, when you watch it, he's clearly taking the majority of that that leg work on. So that maybe saves him a little bit. And, you know, it also allows him to play more games for us. So, you know, that works out in that way, I guess.
Yeah, fair enough. Listen, Let's hope he stays fit. Let's hope he gets more output for the sake of that price tag. I think that's the only thing that has me hesitant on the price tag is the output. Because other than that, I'd be happy to keep him just be based off of the performances. I rate the performances and the chances he's creating. It's just the output. You know, the performances kind of have to match the lack of output when it comes to that.
The only thing for me is fitting him in alongside thinking about how Nkunku is going to fit in. That's the only dilemma that I'm thinking of right now. But that's where Potter makes his money, I guess. So leave it up to him.
Well, there's four positions, right? 3 forwards, attacking mid. I mean, you want to have 7 to 8 players for those 4 positions. My question to you, Andrew, is my question to you, Marshall, is do you think Patrick Bateman is this guy's real name?
Probably not. Probably not.
It's a character from American Psycho. Anyways, moving on.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's Christian. Have you never seen American Psycho?
I have seen it. I just didn't remember the name.
That's Christian Bale's.
This is the one time you have a movie reference that I actually know about.
You gotta get out more, or I guess in terms of movies, stay in more. You know.
Sure. Let me just quit doing Casually FC, and I'll have plenty of time to do it. All right, let's go ahead and discuss goalkeepers. Why not? We're talking about Raya. We talked about Raya last week, and call it lazy journalism, maybe call it a real link, but there has been another hat tossed in the ring. Another Premier League goalkeeper in the name of Sanchez. So Brentford's David Raya and Brighton Hove Albion's Robert Sanchez both could potentially be on the move this summer, and Stamford Bridge is a possible destination with Graham Potter having worked with Sanchez before, and Raya showing the style of play that Chelsea head coach desires. I guess the big question here that I'm going to toss out to you guys is, which of these two would you take to Chelsea? Obviously, they're not the first choice. You guys know my first choice is Ter Stegen. But I think if I had to choose between both of these guys, I'm probably going to go with Sanchez, to be honest. But I give you guys the floor.
I'd probably agree with you. I think.
Scott, that's the most flaccid answer you've ever given. You never give best answers.
Because I can't lie, like the only thing there's 2 things in my head, like the only reason I'm picking Sanchez over Raya, because that's like I kind of said this on the last stream. We're like, with goalkeepers, there's 2 things with it. One is because I was never a goalkeeper, like when I played football, like trying to judge and how good a goalkeeper is to me is so difficult. Is so difficult because it's a bit more difficult than judging outfield players, because like when I'm judging, I'm just going to use these 2 players off because they're the 2 players against mine. When I'm judging like a Felix versus a Mount, I can see the differences. I understand what the differences are in terms of their game, in terms of like decision making, things like that. And there's a few things I understand with goalkeepers, but there's I just don't understand what makes a goalkeeper slightly better than other goalkeepers. Like there's a couple of big things here and there, but so if it's so difficult for me to pick between them. The only thing that makes me pick Sanchez over Raya, there's 2 things, is 1, he used to work with Graham Potter, and number 2, he was picked ahead of Raya for the national team. So obviously Luis Enrique must like him. Like that's the only thing. Also, by the way, Matt, you realize a guy can be 6 foot and still A, command his box, and B, not concede long shots and be good. Like, I'm pretty sure Iker Casillas was 6 foot or 6'1", and he's one of the best goalkeepers ever.
Keylor Navas.
True.
Keylor
Navas.
But yeah, as I said, Sanchez, yeah, but if we're picking between these 2, it's splitting hairs for me. I
think so. I think I gotta be honest. I don't watch enough Raya to really know, but I have seen Sanchez, and I do rate what Sanchez has done. What's going on with Sanchez at Brighton right now? Is he injured or is he losing his first team spot? I'm kind of confused what's been going on with Sanchez recently when it comes to Brighton. I don't know if any of you guys know.
That massively, but
Yeah, I can't speak on what's been going on with Sanchez recently.
I'm just looking at their FBref profiles. It looks like David Raya has the better post-shot XG differential to his actual goals conceded. So he basically, David Raya basically prevents more goals than Robert Sanchez by these statistics.
Is he playing with the worst defense? I don't know if I actually agree with that point or not. I'm trying to think of the defense.
Brentford the worst defense.
Don't put
then
this guy's
Brighton.
comment up.
Oh,
This jabroni. Don't put this jabroni's comment up. He's so biased, he might as well be married to Kepa. Fucking
Well, I was just
Matt.
gonna say, Matt. I mean, Kepa's what, 25, 24 years old now?
No, he's older. He's like 28, man.
Is he?
Yeah.
Is Kepa actually 28?
Scott, Brighton have only conceded 3 less than Brentford.
Jesus
Kepa's
Christ, yeah.
28.
Yeah, he is. Jesus fucking Christ.
Holy shit, Kepa's 28.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he's learning how to command his box at this point in his career. I think he's the keeper that you see
He's
now.
still in his formative years, Marshall. Still in his formative years.
No, I mean, damn, that guy. I want that
got
guy's facial routine. Jesus Christ, he looks young as fuck. He looks like
Dude,
he
we
can still
bought him in
pass.
2018. Don't you remember?
Yeah, holy
He was
shit, man.
He was like 23 at the time.
This guy's got a baby face on him, man. He probably still gets carded at the bars. Jesus.
All right,
That's
I got
crazy.
2 alternatives for you, if you'll indulge me. Number one is Nick Pope. If I were to have another goalkeeper on this team, it'd be Nick Pope. Unfortunately, they'll never sell him. So
he's not good enough on the ball either.
Well, I was
Well,
about to say that actually. I don't think
unless if he's younger than 28, he can learn. The other one is just I'm gonna go with Gaga Slonina, man. I've seen him play.
Nick Pope is 30 years old.
It was a joke, dude.
Jesus.
But no, Slonina's 18. He's 18. He's really good. He's one of the best keepers my country's ever produced in terms of a youth product. I would just say I would like to see him give him a try instead of committing long term to another goalkeeper that may or may not be good because circumstances matter. And like Scott said, and like I had when I was coaching, it's hard to judge a goalkeeper because circumstances really matter. They really matter. What if you put a keeper that used to be on a great team on a bad team? His numbers go down and they're judged so harshly on numbers. You never really know. So I don't know. I mean, Emilio Martinez had a great World Cup. Now all of a sudden he's one of the hottest properties. I don't know about that either, man. He said what? 2 managers fired under him recently? I don't know, buddy. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know why you guys don't rate Ter Stegen, man. I think he's got great.
I do.
do.
He's not for sale.
I was gonna say, like, he's also gonna cost you an absurd amount of money.
Marshall, what makes you think we could get him?
Yeah,
We're minted, bro. We're minted, bruv.
They don't want to sell him. He's great. He's great.
No, but the thing for me is like, I don't want to spend 100 mil on a goalkeeper again,
No.
Fair
or like
enough,
80 mil on a
actually.
goalkeeper again. Like, and if we're going to be
I don't know.
spending that sort of money, like, I'd prefer. Well, maybe actually you could do it with Barca because they are cash strapped.
Barca
I was gonna say- I was gonna
flash sale, you know?
Maybe
Barca are going to go on sale like
I
the
just feel like
Steam
they're
video
never
game
gonna-
sales, man.
I just feel like they're never going to sell him at all, like ever.
Probably not. Listen, I can always dream, but yeah. Yeah, it's. I wish I could get Ter Stegen, but what makes you guys think we're going to get Maignan?
I
Oh no,
feel like
just
I don't know. I
want him.
feel like he's more likely than Ter Stegen, but the reason for it was actually because I thought that it'd be easier to get AC Milan to sell because of how hard they are up for money, and then completely forgot the Barca are basically broke as well. So yeah, I don't know. I just feel like he is.
Possibility,
In my
never
head.
know. Yeah, that German price tag goes up, I guess. I don't know, but listen, if I actually honestly, if we were to get either of these guys, I probably wouldn't be upset. I think it is an upgrade on Kepa. Listen, I think Kepa has shown he still has those flaws in him. And honestly, I would like to see what Salina's got to bring. So if Salina's going to be our backup
Salina's
and we get a keeper like Sanchez or Raya to hold us out, I think we're pretty good for the team next season if we get one of these players. So
What about the dude with the hat? Dean Henderson.
Oh God,
No.
You guys don't want the guy with the hat?
Dean Henderson
No,
wears
he's,
a
he's
hat.
on, he's on a pretty big wage at United. We're not going to be able to. We don't want to match that.
No. The Forest keeper.
Yeah, he's on loan from United.
He's on loan from United.
Right, but if they're going to give De Gea another long-term deal, then that means they're not prioritizing Henderson.
I'll put it to you this way, Carlito. The fact that they got Navas in and upgraded in that position.
That was due to injury, though.
No, I know, but they still got Navas in and upgraded that position.
Well, look,
Navas is very good.
Can I tell you this much, Marshall? The only player that I don't want, the only goalkeeper that I don't ever want in this club is Mr. Gator Arms himself, Jordan Pickford. Anybody but Jordan Pickford.
No.
Pickford signed a contract with Everton. He extended his contract, so there's no way.
Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I think Pickford, when it comes to shot stopping, he's pretty good. But
against Chelsea, he is.
I just don't. Overall, I think he has that bozo gene we keep talking about.
Bro,
like,
he walks funny. I mean, it's the Gator Arms. It's everything.
I gotta give kudos. Well, I hate to say it this way, but I gotta give kudos to Pickford for humbling Liverpool fans with that injury he gave to fucking Van Dijk. Sounds like listen.
Can't take it back now, Marshall.
You know what?
Can't take it back now.
Not to speak. If I speak, I am in big trouble.
Already in trouble. But
You
let's
should,
go.
if you have it already. By the way, on the soundboard, if you don't have it, if you don't have it already, put the football heritage thing on.
Mm-hmm.
This is football heritage.
Hey, Marshall, can I bring up one thing here with one of your friends? Someone I like too.
You want to wait till he's actually on stream so you guys can go about it and I can get juicy content?
No. I want to do it now. I want to do it right now.
You're an American. You have your freedom. Go ahead.
As you damn right, until I don't. Until Mitch McConnell says that we can't. Mitch McConnell doesn't want that.
Go ahead.
All right, so unpopular opinion, says Mr. Kai, one of the founders of this program here, Casually. Unpopular opinion. I would gladly keep Lukaku if that meant that Beta Boy Potter is sacked. Okay, so there's a couple things here. Number one.
All right, in this case, I am going to give you the floor because that's all. It's all you, Carlito.
Mitch McConnell's giving me the floor. All right, so here's the deal. Number one, Lukaku is responsible for 3 firings of the executive branch of our club. Number 1, Bruce Buck. Number 2, Marina Granovskaya. Number 3, he was a contributing factor to Thomas Tuchel getting fired. To the sanctioning of Lukaku. Lukaku is 29 years old. Lukaku is entering his second season of a 5-year deal. Lukaku makes £330 per week. Now, I would say that Neymar has the worst contract in Europe, but Neymar is injury prone. That doesn't mean that he's allergic to quality. Neymar is still a good player. Lukaku is incapable of playing football anymore. He's like when Sean Kemp went to Cleveland. Lukaku has ate himself out of European football. He can no longer play, and therefore, because of that reality, he has the worst contract in European football because there are 3 more years added onto what he's currently doing. In the summer, he will have 3 more years of his contract. And you got this jabroni, Mr. Kai, Mr. Alpha Male himself. He tweets a lot. He's got a lot of opinions. I have no opinions on the lot of opinions that he has. But this one, this jabroni behavior opinion, I will not abide. I will not abide this jabroni behavior. Kai, you could tweet whatever you want, but I will not abide this one bullshit garbage take that you want us to lose and you want us to inherit the worst contract in football just because you don't like our fucking manager. Get out of here with that shit, Kai. I love you. Everybody in this panel loves you. We love you to death. I don't love that jabroni behavior. I don't love that take. And you need to take that take and sit on it because this fucking manager is staying and you need to pump those brakes, young man. You need to pump those brakes. That's all I got.
I didn't know he said that. Listen, Kai,
I mean,
Kai's
that's such
Kai.
a trash v garbage comparison anyway, you know.
Marshall,
Kai's Kai,
I hear
man.
it all the time.
Kai
We wa-
has
these guys want us to lose, so
edgy
Potter
takes.
gets fired.
Yeah. Listen, I love Kai, but I can't.
I
I
do
didn't
too.
always agree with him. So
No, in many respects,
hence,
I do not
hence
agree with
why there was a channel rebrand. So I didn't always agree with him, but hey, it is what it is. I agree
Hey,
with
let
him
me-
now
can I
about
just say
Mason
this last
Mount, so took a while.
That Lukaku take is a beta male take. That is a beta male take, and Marshall knows what I'm talking about. All right, I'll leave it at that.
Hey, that's all you, bro.
I'm not saying that you're the beta male. I'm saying that he's obsessed with making fun of beta males. That's a beta male take. All right, keep it moving.
Yeah, speaking about strikers,
Hey, put that on out of context Casually FC. Print it.
that is
post
true.
it.
There is an
That
out of
is it.
context account. There is an
Post
out of
it.
context Casually FC account.
There you go. There's
But
your first.
let's-
There's your first entry that'll get more than 2 views. Boom, done.
More than 2, thanks. All right, let's talk about Osimhen. All right, on the striker situation, we got 2 more and then we're 1 more and then we're done. So exclusive. Victor Osimhen dreams of playing in the Premier League. Chelsea and Manchester United are interested in Luis Campos of PSG. Has planned to meet his agent during the international break. Napoli are hoping to get 150 million. I did not know the price tag until I just
You're
read
gonna
this,
get
guys.
it too.
150 million euros, but
Are
they're
you in
looking
any
at
way
a
surprised?
Are we
strong
surprised?
contract
Yeah.
renewal.
Nope.
Are you in any way surprised?
Nope.
Guys, I also
ADL,
inform
dude.
myself. I also inform myself via this show. Like secrets out, cat's out of the bag. Like
Too casual. He's too casual with his hosting.
I am very casual when it comes to this stuff, and I did not know. I was thinking like 100 million or something, because
Nope.
you guys seemed like it was unrealistic. This is crazy. How long of his contract does he have?
I think 2 years.
Jesus Christ! What
I
the
think-
fuck?
Don't quote me on
All
that.
right,
I think
let's
it's
go
2
on
years.
transfer mark. Let's just figure this out on transfer mark. But that's
Marshall, we paid 120 for Lukaku.
Yeah, but we had how long of a contract is Lukaku's contract?
It's a brand new one. He just got
4
it.
years, right? 5 years. You had
His
a 5-year
contract
contract
is
with
5
Lukaku?
years with Chelsea, and Kai
5
wants to
years.
inherit the last 3 of them.
Yeah, it was 5 years starting in 2021.
Let's look at Victor Osimhen's contract here. Contract expires in 2025, so
Yeah, 2
he has
years.
2 more years left on his contract, and they're trying to sell him for 150 million euros. That's Erling Haaland levels of price gouging right there. That
Again,
is
are you
crazy.
in any way surprised?
Nope.
Is he Erling Haaland level? Would you guys say?
No.
No.
Or
Who is though?
I was right, as I say,
Lewandowski,
in a
Hurricane.
the thing is, right, as a goal scorer, no, but in terms of in form, you can argue he is. Like, he's probably a shoe-in to win the Golden Boot in Italy. Like, that he is probably going to be a part, like the top goal scorer, or who also happens to be on the team that potentially wins the Scudetto. Like, I'm not in. Also, he just happens to be like the team he plays for just happens to be owned by arguably the most ludicrous owner in the world. Like, none of this is surprising.
They're probably
Besides
going to make the
ours.
UCL final
I'm
as
actually,
well.
I'll tell you where the surprise is: the fact they're not asking for 200 million.
Yeah.
Like, it's-
That's just
And
crazy.
they're probably going to make the UCL final as well. Look at this. Look at the
oh,
bracket.
I think they will. I think it's going to be them on one side and either City or
us.
Us.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
it's going to be either City or Madrid on the other side. I think it'll probably be a City Napoli final.
This
So you
is
know who's
crazy.
going to buy
Go
him, right?
Napoli.
You know who's going to buy him, right? It's Manchester United.
Oh,
Manchester United will make a huge splash for the most informed striker outside of England in the world. He's the big name. He wears the mask. He's cool. He's great. I mean, how much more marketable can you get than that fucking guy? Look how handsome he is. Like, look at the goals. Look at the charisma that he plays with. Dude, this is the guy that United's been searching for a long time.
Do you think also the price has to do with the fact that there's such a drought for decent strikers in the market right now?
I think the position itself is going away.
I
That's a
don't
fair
personally,
point,
because I've said this before. I think that you could replace him with another striker who, as long as they are, quality in terms of goal scoring, and as long as they keep the other pieces around them, most notably Kvaratskhelia, and he will still score goals. I think it mainly just comes down to the owner and the fact of why are they going to want to get rid of the top goal scorer in Italy for a cheap price? Because I'm not gonna say that, for example, right? Say Osimhen left and they went, say, and bought Vlahovic from Juventus for a third of what they say. They get 150 million, they go and buy Vlahovic for 50. I think Vlahovic can get the same amount of goals Osimhen will, as long as the rest of the team stays the same and they play the same way and everything. Just because I think that team and the chances they create is geared towards a lot of goals. I think they literally in their last match scored 4 goals away from home. It's I still think they'll score a bunch of goals, or whoever plays as a striker for them will score a bunch of goals. They had Patania, who's at loan on Monza, scoring goals earlier this season and last season.
Yeah,
I think they will score goals. But
they've had Higuain, and then after that it was Dries Mertens. These guys were always scoring goals for Napoli.
yeah,
Dries Mertens always got 20 goals a season.
that's why the reports as well that were linking Broja at one point. They apparently are interested in Broja. If he goes there, he's scoring goals.
Absolutely.
Just because their team is geared towards scoring a bunch of goals. I think regardless of who they have up front, they're going to be fine. It's just this is arguably the hottest commodity in terms of striker in the world right now. Yeah. They are going to want the most money. He is at his. Depending on how it goes next season, right? You could argue that this summer will be at his peak in terms of price. Yeah. They want the most money for him.
The other thing you have to take into consideration, and now there are reports, but I've been thinking about this for a while. I actually don't think the United is going to sell their majority stake in their ownership. I think they are looking for a capital injection by virtue of a minority partner. Now, I don't think that either of the two major bids, right, are actually going to go through, because I don't think the Glazers want to sell yet. The price tag is roughly around $5 billion. I think if they waited 3 more years, that could become $8 billion. The same way that the Golden State Warriors are now worth $8 billion. The same way that the New York Knicks are now worth $8 billion. Right? If the Glazers hold on a little bit longer, they could probably make 60% more just in a couple years. I think that they're looking for capital injections, and that means a minority ownership group, whether that's 20%, 30%, they'll come in. And if it happens this summer, they will absolutely make a marquee signing, and there is no more available marquee signing than this fucking guy.
Yeah, agreed.
They might want Harry Kane as well. I don't know. Maybe.
Spurs would probably just let him run out his contract.
I honestly don't think Harry Kane's going to leave Spurs. I think he's a loser. I think he's just a serial loser.
On the United thing, it all depends on what they want with Ten Hag as well, because it depends on if they want someone that's going to work in terms of working with Rashford, in terms of interchange with Rashford. So I don't know if Osimhen, they are going to go for Osimhen, just because I don't know how it works with the rest of their team and everything. So if they get Osimhen, surely that means Rashford moving back out to the left when they've been playing him mostly as the 9. So I don't know if that works for them, or are they going to want someone that can interchange, that is happy to play out wide sometimes, but is also happy to come in and play the 9 as well.
They are only playing Rashford as the 9 out of necessity, because Weghorst is so bad at it.
No, but you say that they brought him in and played him as the 10, or they've played him behind Rashford.
You can't even do that as well,
But it's they didn't bring him in to be the out and out 9. They've brought him in to be a complementary piece. So that's why I don't know.
I've seen reports of Sancho going back to Dortmund. So I mean, Scott,
I understand it. It's more my point is someone I know, because I'm only thinking about him because I saw a United fan tweet about this, and I actually think it would be a good idea. Someone like a Randall Kolo Muani might fit better, where he's a guy who is comfortable. He is a striker, but he's also comfortable moving out wide as well, as we saw with France in the World Cup, where it's like he can do both. So that might work a bit better for what they want. That's the only thing that I'm thinking of with the Osimhen thing. Like, it might just work better for them and fit better with the other pieces, mainly Rashford, to have someone who's comfortable doing that, rather than having an out-and-out 9, so you move Rashford to the left.
Even if we don't buy Osimhen, I'm still fine with selling Broja to Napoli. I'm still fine with it.
I don't know about.
I would like to see.
that.
I'd like to see him go out on loan. I'd like to see him going on loan to to someone on that, like, to like a fairly, like a mid-table kind of foreign team, or like a mid-table Premier League team, to be fair as well.
To be fair to Broja as well, I think he surprised a lot of Chelsea fans with his performances this season, and if it wasn't for that knee injury, we probably wouldn't be saying I wouldn't be bothered or fazed by him going to Napoli.
He surprised me with his tunnel vision, thinking that the game is played 5 feet in front of him, directly downward.
But he's young. He's
I don't
what,
care.
20 years old?
I don't care. He showed some habits that he should have eradicated when he was 14. And the other thing is that Marshall, I don't want to play with a striker. I want to play with forwards. That's what I want to play with. Liverpool started doing this 6 years ago. They didn't play with a striker. They played with forwards. And Man City's been doing this for a while too. Even Aguero's not typically a striker. I mean, he moves around. I want to play with forwards. So, for me, buy me an Nkunku, buy me another player that's like Nkunku, another player that's like Mudryk. You know, buy me forwards. I don't need a striker. I don't want stagnant mobility. I don't want my wings to feel like they have to stay out wide, but they can't underlap, or they can't exchange with the middle guy.
We need someone who's prolific, though. That's the thing. You got to look for someone that can offer that, but also the finishing ability.
Sure, or we can get 4 or 5 different guys scoring 8 to 10 goals a season.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Me too.
I don't think I can complain too much with that, but I don't know. I feel like Broja has a role in this team, or could potentially have a role in this team.
I just need
Not right
to see
now.
how he got the injury. Like that.
I want to see how he comes back from injury. I think
That injury was devastating, guys.
I think Scott, what you're alluding to is also, like, I think pace was the biggest part of Broja's game, and depending on how he comes back.
Yeah, there was a lot of like, there was some things. There's obviously some things he needs to work on, but there were some things I liked from him. But I need to see whether, like, any of that has been affected with the injury, and if it is affected, can he change his game and adapt on a few areas that he might have been poor on, so then the injury doesn't hamper him going forward, if that makes sense. And also, I need to see as well, is this an injury that's going to become recurring? Because if it is, then regardless of how he might turn out as a player, it might just be a case of wash your hands with him and let him go somewhere else. So if it's going to be a recurring...
This guy's saying Vlahovic. Man, you watch Vlahovic. He's like Lukaku. He's a left-footed, lumpy, heavy, slow striker.
Much better version of Lukaku. Come on, man.
I'm sorry, he's a slow striker. I don't want to slow forward, man.
And you know what? Speaking on Serbian strikers,
Mitrovic! Yeah!
Let's talk about Alexander Mitrovic. Hold on, let me just go ahead and get a little tab going.
Did he post bail yet?
Wait, hold on. Elaborate.
The red card.
Yeah, the red card.
Yeah, what happened with the red card? I just know he got a red card. I'm not sure.
No. You had rival fans pretending like he assaulted the referee.
Yeah, he put his hands on the referee.
Oh, he pulled a Casemiro then.
Yeah, that's why I said, has he posted bail yet?
Now, Casemiro didn't touch the referee. He put his hands on the player. Mitrovic actually, like, kind of touched the referee.
Oh, no. Yeah, Casemiro didn't choke the referee. He choked like a trainer or some shit.
No, he choked, I think he choked Hughes at Crystal Palace as a player.
Wasn't it a trainer? I thought it was a trainer.
No, it was a player.
Oh, it was a player. Okay.
I thought it was Mark Hughes.
Yeah,
potentially. Not Mark Hughes, Will Hughes.
If he choked Mark Hughes, then Casemiro would be in trouble.
My bad. Yeah.
So this guy, like, I understand what you guys are talking about with Diego Costa on steroids now. Chelsea have always liked Alexander Mitrovic from Fulham and have considered him a short-term option in the last couple of windows. I was told, ironically, before he got sent off against Manchester United, that he is still potential option for Chelsea despite being 28 years old. Some at the club like Mitrovic's mentality and the leadership he brings, as well as him being an all-around striker. This is coming from Simon Phillips.
Sir, can you read that last bit again, please?
Some at the club like Mitrovic's mentality and the leadership he brings,
not that bit,
as well as him being an all-around striker.
They understand what the phrase all-around means. Like, he's not an all-round striker. He's a target man.
Pretty sure. Yeah, I was gonna say. I'm pretty sure he's a target man.
I say he's decent with his feet, but he is a target man, like fox in the box poacher. Like,
yeah, he's way more Icardi than Harry Kane. Way more.
He's not anyway all-round striker. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
an all-around striker is Robert Lewandowski, is Benzema. These guys that can play and drift between 3 or 4 different positions throughout a game, find the ball, distribute, be creative, get assists, get goals, be an absolute leader. That's an all-around striker.
I mean, if this is true and if it was a short-term option, I'm not opposed to it.
Well, why are we doing short-term options though? We already have Aubameyang.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like,
I was
we
say,
have a short-term option, Aubameyang. Yeah.
Our last short-term option was the biggest flop we've had this season, was the biggest waste of time we've had this season.
Our last short-term option was hanging out with Barcelona in the locker room like last weekend.
Which, by the way, on that, I don't really care. Like, if he wants to do that, fair enough.
I don't care either.
Like, if he wants to do that, fair enough.
I can delete this topic then.
He obviously loved his time in Barca, and it's like fair enough. But yeah, like, I don't. This makes no sense. He doesn't fit the style of play. He the only thing he fits is he is a clinical goal scorer, which we do need. Bar that, he doesn't fit anything else. His age profile is completely off in terms of who else we've signed. His style of play doesn't work. If you're only looking at him as a short-term option, again, literally what Ollie just said, like, why not just sign a long-term guy? Why not give the minute? Like, what's the short-term option for? Like, this what I don't understand. Is he a short-term option to be the bench guy? Because why not just give that position to Fofana?
Yeah.
Or why not give that position? Or if the plan is to play Nkunku as the striker next season, why not give that position to Havertz? Like, I don't understand. Like, what's the point of this?
Yeah.
I think this is a lot of agent talking, Scott.
True.
Like, I was gonna say, and like, if you want, like, I understand there are mitigating circumstances behind this, and we have looked at him. But if you want a guy who's scoring goals is actually going to improve the team, like, go and sign Tony. Like, I don't.
True, exactly.
And also, or another one, like, if you want a guy that's going to be a long-term option, and like, obviously he's showing not necessarily that, but it's
Marshall.
like, oh, I wasn't going to say that. I say if you want a guy from like a mid-table or even a potential European challenging team in the Premier League that's scoring goals and looks to have it, go and sign Evan Ferguson, who's considerably younger.
Oh, I've heard about him.
Like, I get, like, this makes no sense on just any level. If you want an out-and-out goal scorer who's performing in the Premier League, there are about 4 other guys you could get that fit better with what you're trying to do.
Bring back Bamford. Bring back Bamford.
Oh my god.
He doesn't even score goals for Leeds.
He doesn't even score goals anymore.
Does he even play for them?
I don't even know. He's not even their starting striker anymore. That's the funniest thing.
Dude,
he's not even their starting striker. And oh my god, like, talk about the amount of chances we have to create for this guy to score 1 goal.
Yeah,
he'd be worse than Felix. Like,
I
he
mean,
would
you
hit
look
the
at like
post 3 times a
Jonathan
game.
David. I mean, like Jonathan David, you could get. I mean, there's guys. There's guys. We got the kid, Whisper. Whisper we just bought. Yeah. There's another one. If you want to develop a player, develop Whisper.
He's ways away though, Carlito. I don't know if you've seen him play.
I know
he's
he is, Marshall,
away,
but we have a ton of forwards. My point is that the way that we want to play, they're exchanging positions anyway, man. Why do you want to target man and ruin the flow? We want to play Potter ball, not, I don't know. A Pellegrini ball or what? No. Maximiliano Allegri ball. I don't want to play Allegri ball.
Yeah, I can't. The Mitrovic thing, even though I'm really well aware of his good season. Pardon me. This season, I just for Chelsea, I don't see it happening. I don't see it being a good fit.
Nope.
I don't really rate it, and I think I'm better off just going off with like a Vlahovic or Tony, the other Osimhen. Like I just rather go for a top target, you know.
The thing for me as well is, and this was before he got the red card for putting his hands on the referee. He's always been a bit of a hothead, and it's been to his detriment. Like, you know, I've seen instances where he's been very violent and should have been sent off, and he hasn't been. There have been others where he probably has been sent off. Like, he can't channel it like a Costa or like a Rudiger. You know, he loses his head way too much. And as a 28-year-old, you are not going to lose that. You're not going to calm down. So,
no way.
Like, you know, yeah. I think that can be a liability if we get him.
You got Marshall. You got this. By the way, guys, little blue boy notes. I was kidding about Bamford. It's a fucking joke. Nkunku playing a false nine like Bobby Firmino. I mean, guys, again, we're buying Nkunku. Havertz has definitely stepped up. I know everybody says he only steps up in the second half of the season, as Andrew would say. Great. Havertz is also surrounded by considerably better players than he's had throughout his entire tenure at Chelsea. Please understand this. Mudryk is going to be a killer. Madueke is going to be a great player. João Felix, probably the best player on the team, certainly a best in the front six. Nkunku coming in. Carney Chukwuemeka coming in. Havertz had absolutely none of these players at this time 1 year ago. None of them. He did not have Nkunku. He did not have João Felix. He did not have Mudryk, Madueke, Carney Chukwuemeka. None of them. I would like to see us try with these new guys that we have that are all good. They're all good players. There's no Timo Werners in this group. Come on. There's no Lukaku's. Havertz doesn't have to play with Lukaku anymore. How much of a disaster was that?
I love Havertz, but
I do too. But you're out on him. You see, you've gotten out on him. I'm not.
No, it's just because, like, I want what's best for Chelsea at the end of the day, and I want to see Havertz ball out. And if it's not going to happen at Chelsea, I want to see it happen at wherever else he goes, you know? If it is Bayern, I want to see him ball out at Bayern.
Over the last month, would you say he's played better?
Over the last 4 games.
So the last month. You know, that's how I phrased it.
That's pretty much a month, yeah.
Yeah, it has been pretty much a month. Yeah. In the last half month that we've had, Carlito, because we're halfway through March, and I see how you're phrasing this.
Joe was kicked out for 3 games. It's not my fault. It's not my fault.
Guys, one defeated in March, by the way. We can hold that close to our hearts.
Clinical Kai, man.
I was going to say, because we're undefeated in March as well, I'm fairly sure just because of how it works that Graham Potter might end up being in like manager of the month conversations.
Yeah.
Oh my. Well, I mean, he's won every game bar 1 draw. Like.
Yeah, so like I think it goes based on like points. Like, you end up getting points based on the games you win and lose or draw or whatever. But I don't know about the record of like other managers. See, I don't quite know how it ends up looking.
But aren't you guys at least a little bit intrigued as to how he'll play with Felix and Nkunku and Mudryk? I mean,
I have the patience for Carlito. I just don't think the rest of the fan base do.
I do, because I'm an adult, man. I'm 34. I'm not 19. I'm not.
Listen, to be fair, I see it from both ends. To be fair, this is his 3rd year at the club. He's had 2 previous years to prove he can work something out, and it's only been a half-season thing. So I get where the lack of patience from the Chelsea fan base that want him to be sold comes from. Yeah. I wouldn't mind waiting, but
my thing with Havertz is if you're going to keep him beyond this season, then extend his contract, because
for sure,
otherwise we need to capitalize on his value now. We can't let this get to a Mount situation where he's approaching the final year of his contract. He's too valuable for that. Like, I know he doesn't always work out for us, but he still maintains value elsewhere. So if we're not going to keep him long term, then we need to capitalize on that to the best of our ability.
Oliver, I think that has to be a priority for them. And Marshall, I see you're playing both sides, Marshall. You're playing both sides, amigo.
I try to be impartial, even with my favorite players, man.
I know, but you can't say that you want him to do well, but also say that you'd be okay with him leaving Chelsea. I would rather take the risk and have him do
he
well
could
at
ball out
Chelsea.
at Bayern. It'd give me a
him
reason to watch Bayern, to be honest.
What I will say
Watch him
on Havertz,
anyway.
what I will say on Havertz is next year is his most important year as a Chelsea player.
By a mile.
Yeah, I would say.
He'll be entering I'll say, come the end of next season, he'll have 1 year left on his deal. He will be playing in an attack that is vastly better than anything he has played in up to this point at Chelsea, with players that are, in my opinion, well, at least two of them vastly better than he is, or three of them, I should say, vastly better than he is. And he's got to show that he can step up to that level, because if he doesn't, come the end of next season, he'll be gone. Because, like you said, Carlito, or I remember who mentioned it, with the contract thing of like, if they don't offer him a new contract next season, and they're waiting until the summer, and he doesn't perform, or he does this same thing he does where he performs for like 2 months or whatever it is during the season, doesn't perform for the rest of it, then he'll be gone.
Oh, Scott, see, I'm with you on this. I am going to let him play. Again, I still think that Mudryk has simply just not played enough. I think he's going to be unbelievable. But if he cannot get it done with Mudryk, João Felix, Madueke, Christopher Nkunku, Carney Chukwuemeka, and hopefully Pulisic if he stays. If he can't get it done with those guys, then he can't play for Chelsea anymore. He can't. But I'm going to give him that year.
Can I ask you a question, Carlito? And I guess this is a question that goes to a lot of Chelsea fans. I kind of know where it's coming from, but why are we putting so much onus on Mudryk? We have Sterling. Like, Mudryk is... I know Sterling. He came at a really high price tag, but he's not Sterling level. Like, Sterling is a better left winger. I don't know if that hurts anyone's feelings to hear, but like, Sterling is the more experienced and the better winger. I know there's a lot of potential Mudryk, but it's potential. He has to develop as a player. He's still, what, 22? 22 years old?
Can I answer? I would say it's not as if he's... You remember Robbie Findlay? I don't know if you remember this guy. He used to play for RSL, my local club, and he had one call-up, I believe it was 2014 World Cup, right? All speed, fastest player in America. But his touch was terrible. He's just a bad footballer, right?
Oh, I actually do remember this guy.
Robbie Findlay. Yeah. Played for RSL. Actually, on 2 different occasions.
I have no idea who the player is.
It's okay. He's just all speed, American. All gas, no brakes. He's like Kenny DeNunez from the Mighty Ducks, right? The Florida guy. All speed, but couldn't stop. Didn't have the prerequisites to actually be a great player. Mudryk is talented. Mudryk has got foot skills vastly superior to Timo Werner. And he's the fastest player in the world, Marshall. He's the fastest player in the world. And he does have touch. And he does have skill. And he can beat people with moves. Unlike Timo, who had no moves. And I still liked Timo. This guy's a way better player.
Timo and Kai had really good link up, by the way.
They did.
That's why I was about it.
Marshall, because they moved really well.
I would argue that it's because of Kai that Timo didn't look nearly as bad as he could have.
But my point is this.
I think their link play was mad overrated.
Okay, my point is this. The potential for Mudryk is so crazy. It's like Victor Wembanyama in the NBA. All right? It is so insane, the amount of potential that he has. And you can already see glimpses of how good this player is going to be because he smokes players with his skill and his speed. So that's why I say, in the long term, he will be a better player than Raheem Sterling and probably all of our other wingers.
I don't
because you cannot replace the things that he has. You cannot replace them.
I mean, did you guys have Scott, Oliver? Did you guys have an opinion on the whole Mudryk emphasis over Sterling?
Oh, I think that I kind of agree with you in terms of I kind of agree with both of you in terms of I don't think right now he's better than Sterling, but I don't think anyone thinks that he is. I don't think anyone's looking at the both of them and thinking that he is better right now, especially considering he has only played just over 50 league games in total. I'm talking across his whole career. But I think as Carlito kind of pointed out, I think the potential's there. You can see that there's talent there. It just needs to be, it's quite raw at the moment. It needs to be honed down, focused, put in the right places, his weaknesses kind of elevated or kind of improved upon, and his strengths elevated. And put like kind of more focus put on those. So yeah, I think in a couple of years, 2-3 years, then yeah, definitely he'll probably be better than Sterling. But yeah, no, right now I don't think anyone is saying he's better than Sterling because he's not.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that either, Marshall. I'm not.
Yeah, because
I just feel like a lot of the fan base are constantly asking this player to play.
I'll put it to you this way, Marshall. In my eyes, at least, anyway, I think of our attacking pieces, our attacking players. Sterling's the second best player in our attack for me. Like it's Felix, then it's Sterling.
This one. Oh, Felix. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, Felix for sure.
But like that's the thing.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I kind of agree. You know, it's quite clear that Sterling is the better player now. I think Mudryk just needs more opportunities at the end of the day. Like, it doesn't even have to be as a starting player. You see this thing Potter does, you know, get a goal, bring Gallagher on and take all our attackers off. No, put Mudryk on because the other team's going to come out at us more and use the ball-playing ability of Enzo to feed balls over the top or through the lines and get him in on goal, give him confidence, and then, you know, he might become something. But he's got to be managed right, and that comes with the game management. We can't do this, get 1-0 up and then sit back or whatever and invite the pressure. We need to keep an element of our attack on the pitch.
Yeah, Oliver, I don't think that teams would just completely, relentlessly throw everything at us if Mudryk is on the field. I don't think they would. I don't think any team in the world has the balls to throw everybody forward if Mudryk is on the field.
But then that's good because they don't have bodies forward. So it's a win-win.
But the thing is,
100%. It's all tactics.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, some teams will, but then that's where you can open them up and hurt them because, like,
you'll kill them.
It happens I'll say it happens in leagues all over the world. Like I was just thinking about this just with
German
that point.
league.
Well, no, I was just thinking like, so it happened in the MLS like recently, where LAFC were playing New England Revolution recently. For those who don't watch the MLS, and the LAFC were 1-0 up. New England went all out because they had to. LAFC carved them open. It finished 4-0.
Yep.
Like, but the Revolution had to go for the win, or had to try and get something. And LAFC carved them open. So that will happen. Some teams will go all out at us, but then when you're having Mudryk on the pitch, you hope that then that happens. Like it did with Leicester. Like they went for it and we carved them open. Yep. Like, and we scored, or we had multiple chances. We scored the goals that we did. So that will happen. The thing as well I will say is like, I actually think that Potter is handling Mudryk absolutely fine. He's not the player I'm worried about. Of all the attackers that we've signed, he's the player I'm like least worried about. Yeah. Like, I'm more worried about Madueke than I am Mudryk. Well, way more worried about Madueke.
You thinking loan, Scott? You think that's what they're
I think
thinking?
Loan, like,
no, not for you, for them.
Madueke and Mudryk?
No. What I'm thinking. No, I'm asking Scott if he thinks that Chelsea is thinking loan for Madueke.
I mean, potentially, but I don't really understand why.
I don't either.
Like,
it wouldn't make sense because Ziyech is going out the door.
It's not that. It's not even just that. It's like, why wouldn't you have just done that when you bought him? If you just signed him and loaned him back to PSV, where he was playing consistently anyway, he was playing for a top 3 team in the Eredivisie. Like, why would you just not have done that anyway?
I think Bowley and Co. thought. I think they thought Ziyech was out.
That's fair. But then my argument to that would be then, why is he not in the squad then? Why is he not in the squad over Ziyech?
I can't answer your question, man, because that was weird to me too.
You're not giving me solutions, Carly.
That's the problem. It's like, I do get the point, but it just runs into like a roadblock of like, well, that it makes sense to a point, but then you're like, well, then why isn't he in the team? If he can't get ahead of Ziyech at the moment, it just doesn't make sense personally. And I'm not saying that he should be playing all the time. He's in a kind of similar boat to Mudryk, where like, especially considering he's younger than Mudryk, he needs to be given game time here and there, but we're not seeing that being given. Like, and especially not with the subs we're making at the moment. Like, if Mudryk is struggling to get on the pitch, and he's playing more than Madueke is, so like, where is he?
I think Madueke has just been a victim of the change in formation because we were playing a 4-2-3-1 before, which kept Felix as the 10. So you can't have 4 attackers, whereas in the 3-4-3 you lose that 10, and that kind of becomes a central centre back. So you lose an attacker there, and you want to keep Felix in the team because he's the best one. So someone's got to drop out, and that's Madueke, unfortunately.
I will ask one last question, and we'll end the show on this one. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you are smashing that like button. Let's try to get that like up button up to 60. But what I do want to ask you guys is, we were talking earlier about, you know, a striker that doesn't fit the system, like Vlahovic and Mitrovic being like more target men. And right now we're just talking about Mudryk and how he would suit a, I guess, a certain tactic. I'll say this, or I'll ask this. Do you think with these signings, we're trying to be more of a toolbox team, and Potter trying to have a player for certain situations and certain tactics against certain teams? Or am I overthinking it, and Potter is just not the competent manager I think he is, that would actually do that kind of flexibility with his tactics? Even though I thought he was during Brighton, I would say.
I mean, you'd like to hope so at the end of the day, because we do come up against different teams here and there. You know, in the Premier League, it's mostly low block, and in the Champions League, it's going to be a bit more open. I know we're not making the Champions League next year, or we're very unlikely to, but that's the aim. We want to get back there, and it's going to be a different game. So you want, at the very least, you want players that are versatile, or you want different types of players for different types of situations. So either or, it's beneficial from, you know, a tactical point of view.
Carlito, Scott, you got any opinions on this?
Maybe. I don't know, just because like I look at our team and I don't really see those type of players in terms of those versatile players that kind of fit that with, because like I would not say that like the likes of like Felix and Nkunku, I wouldn't say are that versatile in terms of like the type of player they are. I'm not necessarily talking about positionally speaking. I'm talking about the types of players they are. I would not say they're that versatile. Like, and I don't know what. I just think at the moment we've got a mesh of different players and players that suit different systems, and it's kind of just he's using what he's got at his disposal at the moment. With some of these players, like for example, like I don't think that come like in next season potentially, or maybe even 2 seasons, I don't think Gallagher's going to be here, and I certainly don't see him being as crucial as a piece as he's currently being used in. So yeah, so I just think at the moment it seems to me like we're just using the pieces we've got in certain instances. Obviously, a lot of these players will still be here going forward and will be used in the preferred system or systems, whatever that may be. Yeah, I think some of these guys are just being used because they are here at the moment. And I think also at the moment, the problem is we don't really know what, as fans, we don't really know what system or formation Graham wants to play. So we're kind of just guessing. So it's a bit harder for us to judge at the moment, because like I personally do think we'll continue playing 3 at the back, but I know there's a lot of people that don't think we're going to play 3 at the back next season. So it's just a lot of guesswork at the moment.
Carlito, you want to throw your 2 cents into the ring for this one?
Yeah, I think he wants to play a 3-4-3 and a 4-2-3-1. He wants a team that can play both. So would I. I don't want to play one way. I want to play 5 different ways. And you need the players to do it. I know for certain the players that he relies upon are guys like Enzo, João Felix, and in particular Kai Havertz. And anybody that thinks that Havertz is leaving, you're crazy. The way that Potter talks about him, the way that Potter plays him every single game, there's a reason for that. He's the focal point of the attack, even if he's not always playing striker. So that's one characteristic of his game that is pretty constant. It's Kai. When Chilwell's fit, it's Chilwell. It's Enzo. It's João Felix. The rest, I don't know. I really, really don't know until Nkunku gets here. Because another one of the things that was going on was Nkunku didn't want to play for Tuchel. Nkunku used to play for Tuchel at PSG. He didn't want to play for Tuchel. Nkunku signed with us when Graham Potter became the manager. Okay?
Yeah.
There's a big distinction there. Nkunku was not coming to Chelsea. In fact, it was another bullshit, like Mitrovic type thing or a Pereira type rumor that had no substance until Graham Potter became the manager. So once Nkunku's here, once Sterling is back fit, once we have Mudryk and Madueke firing, João Felix is here permanently. All that shit, all those ducks in a row, Carney Chukwuemeka getting a full preseason with us, then I'll judge. I don't want to say this is a throwaway season because we can absolutely still go on a Champions League run, and everybody else between us and Man City and Arsenal are also playing poorly enough where we could still, if we win out, we could win top 4 as well. This is like the season's not over, but I want to see us using this as a precursor to our summer preseason leading into the fall. Whatever competition that we're eligible for, play really well in it in the fall. If that's Champions League, great. If it's Europa League, fuck, but do it anyway. If it's Conference League, do it anyway. Establish your chemistry and then make a run at the Premier League. But I know that the one constant is going to be that we're going to have a lot of forwards, and they're not all here yet. And Sterling has been in and out of the lineup because of injury. Pulisic's been in and out of the lineup because of injury. Mudryk's been in and out of the lineup because of fitness issues. João Felix got a red card, but now he's finally finding form. Enzo barely just got here. Kai's been the only constant, and Nkunku's not here yet. So all these things that Potter, I'm sure, is thinking about all the time, they're not all there yet at his disposal. And when they are, I will judge, and I will judge harshly, but not until then.
Fair enough. All right, ladies and gents, big up to everyone that's been watching. We're 2 more likes away from 60. See if you can get us there. But before we end, I just want to give a shout out to the Proper Casuals, the members that are at the Proper Casual tier. Right. That will be Winter Surfer, Daniel, Strasbourg Steve, OG Turbo Jesus, and Dark. If you want to get a shout out, make sure you do sign up for that Proper Casual tier, and just sign up for the membership in general. There's cool emojis you can use. So we're 1 more away from unlocking a brand new emoji that you guys will fucking love. But yeah. Make sure you check that out. 99p. Listen, it's 1 less coffee a week away from getting it done. So,
did you just say OG Purple Jesus, Turbo Jesus, or something?
Turbo Jesus. He's right here, right here. This guy.
Yes.
So, listen, everyone. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Hit that bell notification. Check out the links in the description. Leave a comment down below. Let us know what you think about the stream today. I didn't think we would make it this far. We made it way past the point where I thought we were gonna. We're at 2 hours 20 minutes. So I hope you guys enjoy all the content we were able to provide for you tonight. Big up to the panel: Scott, Carlito, Oliver, Ahmed, and Real Chris, who joined earlier as well. I'm going to go ahead and give you guys over to Sarcasm City, and there will be a raid message for you guys to use. So go ahead, copy and paste that raid message, spam it in this chat. Let them know where you're coming from. Let them know that the casuals have come and raided the channel. But thank you guys so much for watching. Announcement. Next Wednesday, we'll do our monthly call-in show. So if you want to be a part of the discussion that we're going to be having on Wednesday, make sure you're tuned in. Again, hit that bell notification so you don't miss out when that's going to happen. It should be on Wednesday at the same time as usual, but I might be a little late, so hit the bell notification so you're notified when that starts. But yeah, come be a part of our call-in show. I want to hear what you guys have to say and what discussions we have surrounding whatever topic we choose to talk about. But yeah, that will be happening next week, so be sure to stay tuned for that. We'll be back on Sunday as well to talk about more Chelsea news and whatever else happens now that we're in an international break. But big up to everyone in the chat. And yeah, we're going to take you over to Sarcasm City. Enjoy that stream. Make sure you're supporting them as well and spamming that raid message. But until next time, peace out and stay casual.
Let's have it roll.